The Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Federal investigation says that Shohei Ohtani was a victim of fraud. MLB PA director Tony Clark blames the pitch clock for many top pitchers getting hurt. And Greg McElroy, yes, Greg McElroy, says that Caleb Williams did not face enough adversity in his college career. And much, much more here on the Sports Loudmouth. Doc Rivers is going to have Damian Lillard run very fast out of town. Does he help them win? You're under 500. Aaron Judge helps the Yankees win. You're paying the player $300 million. You better be sure that that guy's going to help you get over the hump. For some reason, this guy is completely lost on calling plays. Maybe he's a therapist. Jackson tried to the right. No, he didn't. We are back for a new show of the Sports Loudmouth. I'm your host, Errol Marks, my co-host, Speedy Petey. Remember, you can call us at 631-672-3108 is the number to call. Go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week, including the Loudmouth with me, Speedy P, and Sean Smith, every single Wednesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. All you have to do to tune in and check out your local listings is go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Speedy, what's up, man?
Dealing with some technological annoyances between my computer and laundry and a bunch of other stuff today. So it's been
laundry. What's going on with your laundry?
It was making a lot of loud noises. But
does it mute? Does it like moo? Does it meow or something? Do you have your cat? Maybe you have something.
I don't have a cat.
Oh, maybe you have a dog in there. A squirrel.
I didn't put my grandmother's dog in the washing machine.
I mean, if it needs a shower, it needs a bath.
I'm not going to put it in a washing machine.
Why not?
Really?
I'm just asking. Maybe a squirrel snuck into your house and it lives in your washing machine.
I would hope not.
I mean, what was going on with it then?
No, I was just making a lot of like loud noises, like aggressive noises. I was worried.
Aggressive, like something was humping it or something?
Yeah, like loud, like it looked like sounded like it was an engine malfunction. I don't know.
Engine malfunction.
Something like that. Yeah.
Did you call your uncle?
No. I took everything out. I stopped it. It wasn't like that.
Did you
bad.
figure out what was wrong with it?
I probably had too many heavier stuff.
Well, there you go. I mean, why would you, plunge all that wonderful clothes that just stink and you wait to the last minute to wash it, Speedy? Why would you do such a thing?
Because I'm busy trying to get these YouTube channel up and our Instagram and our TikTok. And that takes a marathon.
A marathon, ladies and gentlemen. We have a great show lined up for you guys. A little bit later in the show at 8:30, we'll be talking to Emmy-Award Winning sports broadcaster, our friend Dave Baez. Well, Benz. Well, he was Dave Baez at one point, so I'm just kidding. Dave Benz. He will be joining us. Federal investigation says that Shohei Ohtani was a victim of fraud, and he was telling the truth about his interpreter. I have a lot of questions on how they investigated all this, so we will get into that. MLB PA director Tony Clark blames the pitch clock for many top pitchers getting hurt. Well, Tony Clark speaks up. Why not speak about the pitch clock now? Let's attack Rob Manfred. Thank God. He'll be out in 2026, so that'll be great. Maybe Tony Clark's the next commissioner of baseball. Who knows? Greg McElroy says that Caleb Williams did not face adversity in his college career. Well, he cried a lot. That's adversity. I mean, anybody that you see on the field, every time he loses against a big-time, program, you saw him cry. He was crying the whole time. I mean, Smitty, maybe you should cry with him. No? O.J. Simpson passes away at the age of 76 from cancer. So we will get into the whole O.J. Simpson and really from his great background in football to his killing spree of his ex-wife. So, things like this happen to bad people. The Knicks say they want to give Jalen Brunson a new contract at the end of the season. This is great news for Jalen Brunson. He's going to make his mucho dinero this offseason. Draymond Green takes shots at Zach Edey. Why is he attacking Zach Edey? I don't understand it. And, by the way, NBA referees and more. So we will get into the whole Draymond Green podcast.
Yeah. He has his GM also saying that the Draymond Green video of him punching Jordan Poole shouldn't even gotten out there. Oh, yeah.
Let's parlay with Reno, Johnny, and maybe more. And MLB season previews and picks. We haven't done that yet. Me and Speedy have not done that, so we will do that tonight with our executive producer, Mr. Fish. So he will be joining us a little bit later in the show as well. There will be no Scoops tonight. He is sick. So a shout out to Scoop. Hopefully he feels better. Just a lot going on in his life. I mean, he goes to Hofstra. He does a lot of our social media work, and obviously he does our sports minute. So hopefully we see Scoops next week. He has a stomach virus, so hopefully he feels better. Federal authorities confirm that Shohei Ohtani was a victim of fraud in connections with his former interpreter. The New York Times also reports that the interpreter is in negotiations to plead guilty to federal crimes. Federal authorities say that Ohtani was telling the complete truth and that allegations against his interpreter were even worse than expected. The investigation showed there were no traces to any of Ohtani's bank accounts being directly involved with any sports betting. The investigation also showed that the interpreter changed Ohtani's bank account transactions so he would not get alerts on his transactions. There is a belief that the interpreter stole a lot more money than just $4.5 million. Some people say it's a little bit over $16 million. What I want to get into. It's been 2 weeks, right? 2.5 weeks from this Ohtani story came out. the FBI, the DOJ is investigating this story. It's such a big story. And a lot of people believe that Pete Rose should drop the hammer on the MLB. And Pete Rose is not in the Hall of Fame. And Pete Rose has been disrespected by the MLB for many, many years for betting on sports. And now that it's legalized in almost 40 states, and the biggest player in the MLB, in Shohei Ohtani, gets caught, or his interpreter and his best friend get caught stealing money from him and putting it in different accounts, and not knowing that almost $16 million was missing out of it. Come on, guys. You can't sit here today and actually believe this rubbish. This is crazy. How do you not see that $16 million is missing out of your account? Most people, if you look in your account, could probably notice that they're missing 16 bucks. How do you not see that 16 million is missing out of your account? But guess what, guys? The DOJ, the FBI, they investigated it. It's not true. They pinned it on Shohei Ohtani. Every single analyst, every single broadcaster, every single radio show host threw Shohei Ohtani under the bus. It's not true. They investigated in 2 weeks' time. They investigated 3 or even 4 years of betting. What are you, nuts? What, have you lost your mind? This story is a bunch of crap. How much did the MLB pay off the DOJ? How much did the MLB pay off the FBI? That's what I want to know. Because the MLB, for the last 35 years, has kept Pete Rose out of baseball. The greatest hitter in Major League Baseball history is not in the Hall of Fame. Can't even step on a Major League Baseball field because he bet on baseball. How is that fair? And you read this investigation. Let's go through it here. Let's go through the story here. And I'm being honest here, because you can't sit here and tell me that all of this has been discovered in 2 weeks' time, in a 3-year, 4-year betting scheme. This interpreter was working with DraftKings. He was working with other betting schemes throughout the country when it wasn't legal in California. And I'm not going to sit here and think that Shohei Ohtani didn't know that $16 million was missing out of his account. Because the honest to God truth, you can't honestly believe that he doesn't have 3, 4, 5 accountants working on his bank accounts. How do you not see 16 million not counted for missing out of your account? Or maybe even counted for missing out of your account. It's impossible. It doesn't make sense. And the fact that the federal authority is saying that he knew nothing about it, he knew nothing about this fraudulent connection between betting on sports, is absolutely ridiculous. Now, a lot of athletes, superstar athletes, as big as Shohei Ohtani, and he's the biggest in baseball. There's no question. He's been in the league for what, 5 years? He's won 2 MVPs. He has probably a good chance of winning an MVP this year. You look at all the great players we've seen in the last 10 years. The Mike Trouts, the Altuves, the Aaron Judges, the Juan Sotos. We could go on and on and on. None of those guys have been caught betting. None of them. None of them. This has been going on. I mean, sports betting has been legalized in many different states in the last year and a half, 2 years. But this has been going on for over 3. You're going to tell me in a 3-year span, Shohei Ohtani family members, all the money that he is making, he doesn't know what goes in and out of his accounts? Come on, guys. We're not stupid. You're not stupid. The world's not stupid. But guess what? The DOJ says that he was not involved with this because they're saying their investigation of what they have seen so far, he has been practically thrown under the bus by everybody accusing him for betting on sports. Betting on baseball.
Yeah, and I think this kind of thing is elaborate enough where it could even go even further than just fraud. I think there's definitely going to be more charges when you're looking at combined the amount of money, like you said, all the accountants that could be involved, all these random bank accounts. We make fun of Kevin Durant all the time for all his burner Twitter accounts. Well, this is the financial equivalent, all these fake bank accounts, all these offshore bank accounts. So who knows what this scheme could go even further. I think this is definitely a lot bigger than tax fraud. And if that's the case, there's going to be a lot more guys getting investigated because of this. And the FBI and all the other government agencies, even agencies in Japan too, I would imagine. But this is definitely looking like a lot larger than just one little gambling scheme.
Again, and I know Keith is bringing up Tim Duncan. He was smoked for $20 million and whatever. Okay, this is a kid that came from Japan. Tim Duncan, all right. He was a multi-millionaire before this whole thing happened with him. All right, he had hundreds and millions of dollars in his account. 3 years ago, Shohei Ohtani was a new baseball player. He was not making $700 million. He was new in the league. He just won his first MVP 3 years ago. You're going to tell me Tim Duncan was a superstar for many years. He had how many $150 million contracts in the NBA? What was it? He was in the league for 20 years. He probably got like 4 contracts. He's made about $400 million. This thing that happened to Tim Duncan, when did it happen? A few years ago. He was done with basketball. He's got hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars in his account. This guy didn't have that. I'm telling you guys, if you're going to sit here and tell me that Shohei Ohtani did not know that $16 million was missing out of his account, that is a bunch of crud. That is a lie, okay? And I'm tired of it because these are world-renowned, big, huge corporations, multi-billion-dollar corporations. All they got to do is slide money under the table. That's what they probably did. And Shohei Ohtani's in the clear. He's the biggest superstar in the MLB. The biggest. If he gets caught betting on baseball or sports, he's done. He's done with baseball. Nobody, his contract, null and void. Do you really think baseball will allow that to happen? Are you guys nuts? I'm telling you, it's a business. Sports is a business now. You're going to sit here and make excuses for Shohei Ohtani because that's what the DOJ is doing. I'm tired of this. I'm going to tell you this right now. Jonte Porter, he's going to get in a lot of trouble. You know why? He doesn't have nothing. He's not worth anything. Nobody gives a I'm not going to say it on live radio. Nobody gives a crap about him. This guy's the biggest star in baseball. And he went up there and he said, I didn't know anything about it. I swear it. I swear it. O.J. Simpson, and we will get into that a little bit later, claimed he never killed his wife. He claimed that he had nothing to do with it and that the glove didn't fit. But because the DOJ came out and said that Shohei Ohtani knew nothing about this, leave him alone. It's over. Let him go.
In comparing the two cases, like you also have more technology and more intelligence agency that you're dealing with now, where you could also have a mole in the FBI or in any of those other government agencies. You also could have a mole within those banks too. Like banks do inside jobs in bank robberies and in certain cities. I could see that kind of thing happening. Again, in Japan too. I don't even know how it is in Japan. That could definitely be a much more elaborate operation. And this guy, like we were talking about the first time, has more than just Shohei Ohtani on his payroll in the past. He had 5 other athletes at least that we know of. So who knows what other big scheme could happen? And obviously Ohtani's probably the richest one. So he's going to use that money and just grow with it more investment. And all of a sudden it grows to 16 million. And that's all we know of right now.
If you don't, and I'm sorry, Keith and Jeff and Snug, you actually think this is crazy to make it seem like it's a conspiracy theory? It's not. You're a multi-billion-dollar organization. You have the biggest player in your sport. The biggest player in your sport involved in this controversy. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're going to clean it up. That's what you're going to do. Steroids has been around for many, many years. It saved baseball. And what did baseball try to do? They tried to keep it under the rug. That's what they tried to do. And then when the politicians and the House of Representatives got involved with it, oh no, they're not going to let this get away. There's no way they're going to let Bud Selig get away with this. Oh no. And they dropped the hammer on baseball. And everybody, I don't care what Jeff says. And Jeff, if you can't pronounce my name, I will block you. Test me. I will block you. I don't care what you have to say. You either call me by my regular name or don't call me at all. Don't use my name. You're an idiot. You're gonna send me. All right, I'm blocking you now. Speedy, block him. Block him. He's done. He's done with the night. So block him. He will not be back on. To get back into the whole federal authorities with Ohtani, the allegations against his interpreter might be true. It probably is. It wasn't just his interpreter. You know what? Leave him there. Leave him there. I'm not going to stoop to his level. The federal authorities right now is still investigating the story. They're still investigating. And right now, what they have supposedly not found is he's innocent. But you're talking about 3 years of betting. Millions of dollars. How does it just be brushed under the rug and they're saying that Shohei Ohtani knew nothing about it? It doesn't make sense, guys. It doesn't. And anybody that sits here today to believe it is an idiot. Those are the facts. I'm not going to sit here and make excuses, and I'm also not going to sit here and believe it. I'm not. And I know everybody's going to say, well, there you go with your conspiracy theories. It's a business. Sports is a business now. It's not about the game anymore. I've said this over and over and over and over again on this show many, many times. When I grew up watching sports, it was about watching the competitiveness, the camaraderie, the team. Now it's all about fantasy sports, how much money I'm going to make, what am I betting on tonight, what player who's going to out-rebound this other team. It's all about money. It's all about money. And you know what? Keith, you could say whatever you want. You can make excuses because you're a betting man. And you want to follow in Snug and Jeff's bullcrap, then do that. You could say there's no facts to it. There's no facts to it because it's hidden under the rug. It's been going on. And you keep bringing up Tim Duncan. This happened to Tim Duncan how many years ago? A couple of years ago?
I never even heard of it. So.
Yeah, it happened a couple of years ago. I remember it. Happened a couple of years ago. Tim Duncan's been retired from basketball for over 6 years. And I'm tired of sitting here and just thinking, hey, you know what? The DOJ, the FBI, do you know how many innocent people are in jail? Do you know how many people and so many documentaries that I've seen on television that everybody said there's no doubt he did it? And the facts were pretty much just brought to the judge and the DA's attention just so they can get somebody to take the rap for it.
Mm-hmm.
Those are facts. You're going to tell me when they find, and 20 years later, they find the guy to be innocent? Well, you know what? They made a mistake. Who cares? Baseball took this and they brushed it under the rug. The reason why is if it was anybody else, I'm telling you guys, if it wasn't Shohei Ohtani or one of their biggest stars, if it was anybody else, it would have been worse. It would have been worse. I'm telling you. There's a pitcher we have been speaking about that's not in the major leagues right now. He's been fighting to get back here because he was accused of doing sexually bad things to women. You know what I'm talking about, Speedy.
Trevor Bauer.
Trevor Bauer. Baseball hated Trevor Bauer. Why? Because Trevor Bauer didn't give a crap what anybody thought of him, including his coaches, his teammates, and everybody. And because baseball didn't like him and he's not important, and because he supposedly was accused of doing what he did when he has been through the court system and has been proven innocent from it, they will not let this guy back into baseball.
And it shouldn't matter the player level. Like, that kind of process should not matter. Shohei Ohtani, if he is part of this, I'm not saying he is, but if he is part of this, should get the same punishment as Pete Rose. Or reinstate Pete Rose, let him go into the Hall of Fame like he should, and let Shohei Ohtani be Shohei Ohtani. You want to have it both ways. Baseball's never done that in their entire existence. They're a hypocritical organization. They're a sport full of controversy. And right now, that might be only a small piece of the puzzle that we know of, because the way this gambling scheme works out, all this fraud, like you were saying, that could be a lot more elaborate. Like you said, so many innocent people could have money being poached from them, and they don't even realize it. Like, it's so secretive of an operation. He had all these burner accounts. He apparently impersonated Ohtani, and who knows who else he could impersonate. He could steal people's identities all the time, and that could have central intelligence behind it. That could have government behind it. Like, there's just so many different things that could go on. And Keith, you want to say that you go come up with conspiracy theories? The MLB league office certainly has guys that have that kind of money too, and maybe have that kind of connection. Why couldn't Rob Manfred do something like that?
CTE. Do we remember what was going on with CTE? Do we remember what Goodell was trying to do to this doctor, because he came out and he figured out that this head trauma was affecting many football players to go crazy, kill themselves, and try to kill other people? Are you blind, Keith? They threw it. They brushed it under the rug. They still, to this day, have only agreed to $100 million to, people, athletes that have been hurt and head trauma in football. And by the way, one of them that is on our show, in Sean Smith, who hasn't been paid yet from the league.
Yep.
Oh, that's okay. Oh, they were just, that wasn't true. Roger Goodell's been brushing it under the rug forever. You're going to tell me they're not going to brush this under the rug? There's no facts to it? There was no facts to the CTE thing until a doctor opened his big mouth.
And they have enough money to fund that kind of thing because it's a big corporation that Major League.
Oh, Pete Rose was guilty. Why was he guilty? Because baseball couldn't stand Pete Rose. That's what it was. Baseball, Bud Selig couldn't stand Pete Rose.
Keith, to get to the second half of your comment, this is much more of an elaborate operation than just some petty gambling scheme at this point. This looks like a lot more if 5 different charters, all these fake bank accounts, offshore bank accounts. This looks a lot more than a gambling scheme. So, Keith, you could just say, "Oh, I could go do this to 1 million people." That doesn't mean that you're going to pull it off and be able to get away with it. This is very elaborate stuff.
Because he lied.
It screams agency all over it.
Because he lied. That's what he says. Because he lied. Because he lied. Where's the proof? How do you find proof in 2 weeks? You have to investigate these offshore accounts. They could be hidden. What are you, Keith? Come on, man. You've been in betting schemes your whole life. You're going to tell me there's no offshore accounts? How the hell are you going to investigate that in 2 weeks? Stop it. They were paid off. That's the facts. And I'm going to tell you this. It's going to be brushed under the rug. Nobody's going to talk about this anymore. Nobody. Nobody's going to speak about Shohei Ohtani. Everybody, you're going to have every single radio show host for the next 2 days speak about this and brush it under the rug. Nobody cares about it anymore.
It might just be a small part of the operation. Who knows how big it is?
Nobody cares. Nobody cares what Shohei Ohtani did. It's Shohei Ohtani. He's the greatest thing since sliced bread, since Babe Ruth. And you're going to tell me right now that Pete Rose was lying? How do you know Shohei Ohtani's not lying? I believe Shohei Ohtani is lying about this. How do you not know that $16 million in 3 years is missing out of your account? What are you, crazy? That is a bunch of bullcrap.
Keith, we're not saying you specifically have been in betting schemes, but there are people that are looped into that because of these types of cases, fraud, embezzlement, among and all other things. And who knows what other people are going to be involved. Right now, that we know of is just the interpreter confessed. That's all we know. There could be 5 other people involved that could have government backgrounds,
maybe more
intelligence backgrounds. This is a much more elaborate operation. Now, again, I'm not going to throw Ohtani under the bus right now for the time being.
I'm not throwing him under the bus either, but I know he knows something about this. There's no way the guy didn't know anything about this. Mm-hmm. There's no way. I'm sorry. I don't believe it.
Yeah.
I don't believe it.
And you're absolutely right, where if baseball realizes that something is happening that's going a lot further than this, they have to either lay the hammer down like they did with Pete Rose, because what Pete Rose did was, first of all, different era. Second of all, less technology involved. And yes, while he did lie and whatever, like, this is a much more elaborate operation. So either you have to drop the hammer on Ohtani, or you just have to free Pete Rose, not ban him from the sport entirely.
Yeah, well, Keith, whatever you say, Keith, I'm not going to sit here and argue the whole point for the rest of this show saying that, oh, it happens. Oh, it's not true. It's this, it's that. Whatever you say, Keith, you want to jump on the bandwagon with Jeff, go do it. You're wrong. You're wrong. Because, Keith, if you had $100 in your pocket and it was gone, would you know that it was missing? You damn well believe you would. You know you would be looking for it. Don't tell me that $16 million 3 years ago, and it was 16, 17 million in a 3-year span. He wasn't making the money he's making now. He wasn't. How do you not know? It's not in your account.
And how do you not know there's other people that might have been working for you that might have stolen it too? That's what I'm saying. Other accountants, banks, they could do all this. That's why I'm saying this guy, Ipe, might be the first big mole in this, but it might be 5 other guys deep. And Ohtani's just another victim.
MLB PA Executive Director Tony Clark filed a statement to the Major League Baseball and the league that he blames the pitch clock for many injuries to starting pitchers this season. MLB made the pitch clock even shorter this season with runners on base from 20 seconds to 18 seconds. The MLB league office responded to the complaint, blaming more of increases in velocity and spin rate in player development causing severe arm injuries. Guardians pitcher Shane Bieber, who is who's on his last year of his contract, tore his UCL in his first start of the season. But he says he does not blame the pitch clock for this injury. Garrett Cole had the opposite opinion, saying that the pitch clock is directly correlated with the elbow injury he suffered in spring training. Brave star Spencer Strider, velocity was down in his second start, and the Braves now are considering elbow surgery for Strider. Many big-name pitchers have been out with elbow injuries since the second half of last season, including Kadai Senga, Sandy Alcantara, Shane McClanahan, Jacob deGrom, and Shohei Ohtani. And Speedy, we don't have to go through all the pitchers that have been hurt with their arm injuries, okay? We really don't. We all know there are a ton of pitchers that have elbow problems, shoulder problems, and some people blame because of the speed of the pitch clock. Now, I don't know. I don't trust Tony Clark to be right on everything that he said, okay? Because he could be wrong in many different ways. Now, the pitch clock has been a concern. Now, a lot of ex-baseball players that we've had on the show, including pitchers, say that they like it. They think that it makes the game speed up. You could have a doubleheader instead of watching a doubleheader game for 10 hours, 5 hours each game. You're sitting there for 2.5-hour games where you don't have to sit there a whole day. You can sit there for half a day and watch 2 games and then go home and hang out with the fam. Baseball is all about enjoying a game, hanging out with your family at a ballpark. That's why you go to a baseball game. It's not like basketball. It's not like football. It's not like hockey. When you're hanging out at the bar for hockey games before you're going right into the stadium and watch, what is it, a 2 hour and 45-minute game? Baseball's different. Baseball's been around for over 100 years. And what's great about baseball, and the interesting part of baseball, is you don't know what to expect in a baseball game. It used to be where a game could go 18 innings, 19 innings. Now, after the 9th inning, you have somebody on second base. They're trying to get the game over with as soon as possible. And I've got news for you guys. Rob Manfred, and obviously some of these rule changes have been absolutely hurtful to the game of baseball. Baseball is America's pastime. It's been around forever. These rules have been here forever. The only rule that I liked from baseball when they decided to change it was the shifting. And because I think it hurt baseball. Baseball wanted to see more offense. Now teams are starting to understand the game a little bit more. And now it doesn't matter if you shift the ball, you're still not getting enough offense because teams are learning how to defend it without the shifting. Pulling the ball still is hard to get that extra base. And that's the thing. I agree with Tony Clark that Tony Clark is going to stand up for the players. He's an ex-baseball player. He knows the game. He's been around for the game for a long, long time. He loved America's pastime rules. He looks at the game from when he played in the 90s and the late 80s. The game is different now. The speed of the game. They're more athletic. They're more stronger. How many Aaron Judges were there in the 70s? How many 6'8", 280-pound men were standing at the plate and smacking the ball 500 feet? How many Giancarlo Stantons were there in the 80s who's 6'8" or 6'7", smacking the ball almost 500 feet? It's a different game. I'm not saying the players are better. I'm saying they're more athletic. There's more weight training that goes along with being a professional athlete. In those days, I mean, look at Babe Ruth.
Yep.
Babe Ruth was fat. He drank, he ate, he smoked. He would practically go on a ball field drunk, smacking 2-3 home runs a game because there was nobody as good as Babe Ruth. And people are saying if Babe Ruth played at this time, he wouldn't be as dominant. That's a bunch of crud.
He wouldn't have that body type now. That's what a lot of people don't realize.
That's a bunch of crud. The ballparks were bigger in that of those times.
Yeah. Plus, he would have access to modern training. He would have access to modern coaching. That much more concepts have come into baseball now because of what we know.
Now, pitchers throw harder.
Yes.
We all know that. How about that? How about the training? And I know Tony Clark, and I'm going to go against Tony Clark on this. I don't think it's only the pitch clock. These pitchers, these kids are throwing 90-mile-per-hour fastballs at the age of 16, 17 years old. They're throwing curveballs that are going almost 85, 90 miles per hour before they're playing college ball. They put a lot of torque on their arms and their shoulders at a very young age. Some of them last. Max Scherzer didn't have shoulder or elbow problems until late in his career at the age of 36, 37. He had that lap problem, then he had elbow problems. It happens.
Welcome to the New York Mets, where our pitchers always get hurt.
I don't think it's just the pitch clock.
No.
I don't. I think it's the training. I think the training in baseball is completely different than it was in the 60s and the 70s.
Yeah, and I also think that the fact that there's so many younger pitchers getting hurt now make it seem like it's not just a pitch clock issue. Now, runners on base is a little different because you're trying to pitch from the stretch, you're trying to pitch a little faster on the release, and maybe some of those 20 to 18 second tweaks could have been based on that. But again, it's a very small sample to be able to judge that right now, this early in the season, to know for sure. Now, like I was saying, a lot of those pitchers are younger. Senga got hurt in the beginning of the season. Fish brought it up on the graphic. Kyle Bradish, young kid for the Orioles, that was a Rookie of the Year candidate, already hurt. He's going to be out probably until May or June. Now, a lot of those guys that got hurt last year were based on bullpen guys. And the older pitchers had a lot of trouble staying healthy last year too. And now you have a mixed bag that doesn't work in their favor because the pitch clock, the older guys had a tough time adjusting to it because they didn't have the development, like you were saying, in the minor leagues. The young guys had that kind of development. So there has to be kind of a middle ground on where you're going with that to just only blame the pitch clock. Now, I did say at the time when the pitch clock got released that I thought it should have been more like 25, 30 seconds. I thought it was a little too fast, but I think there still should have been something implemented in the game to make it like that, where the pitchers are not going to hold the ball forever.
It has nothing to do with the pitch clock. In my eyes, first of all, baseball should not have a pitch clock. I know a lot of players like it. I think Jock, he liked it. I think he said that he liked it.
And Nelson Figueroa, I know, hated it. So I remember
Nelson Figueroa hated it.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a former pitcher. He was a relief pitcher for the Mets for how many years? So some pitchers liked it. Most of them didn't. But I'm not going to sit here and think that it's just the pitch clock is the only reason why these guys have elbow and shoulder problems. I don't think it has anything to do with it. I think it has a lot to do with their training. I think it has a lot to do with the competitiveness now of these athletic, gifted kids that want to make the major leagues. Now, remember when you threw 90 miles per hour in the 90s and the early 2000s, you're making the major leagues. Now, if you throw 90 miles per hour, there's no guarantees you're making it to the majors.
If your fastball's 90, it's a concern now.
I mean, seriously. I mean, it's ridiculous. Now, if you want to make the majors, you got to throw at least 97, 98. At least. And if you're throwing over 100, there's no doubt about it, you're going to make a major league team. There's no doubt. If you can throw, even if it has no spin on the ball.
Or you have to, as long as you can control it, yeah.
If you could throw strikes and throw 100 miles per hour, you're making a major league roster. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, you really have to do, like you were saying before, with the spin rate. You really have to, if you don't have that velocity, be able to spin the ball like crazy.
Have you ever seen the movie The Rookie?
A while ago.
Okay. And Dennis Quaid played
Jim, yeah.
Yeah. And he made the major leagues. And the reason why he made the major leagues is because he was an older guy, never got a chance to really show his arm off because his father never respected his game, and he never went to play college baseball. So he became a high school teacher and coached their high school baseball team. And then he started throwing the ball, and everybody started. And then they dared him to try out for the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. And he tried out. And he threw what? I think he was throwing 92, 93.
Yeah, they needed something at that time.
And at that time, that was fast. That's one of the strongest arms in baseball at the time.
Yeah, and to think at that time, the Rays were considered a poverty franchise. They were awful the first 10 years of their existence.
And now, if you throw 92, 93, there's something wrong.
Yeah, it's be a huge team fastball.
Carlos Rodon in spring training was throwing 91, 92. It was concerning.
Right.
When his average power four-seam fastball was really rotating between 98 and 97, and it had tremendous spin on the ball.
Yep.
So it is nothing. It has nothing to do with the pitch clock. I know Tony Clark is trying to get rid of it. I know that's what he's trying to do because a lot of the pitchers don't like it. They don't like being rushed at the pitching mound. And then the players, they're standing outside the box playing with their gloves or itching their ass or fixing their shirts.
And a lot of the younger pitchers we've also had on the show were mentioning that it was an easier adjustment for them than others too. That's why I also think it's still more the development and the minor league training too, because they want to get the velocity up quickly, maybe quicker than they should in an 18-year-old, 17-year-old in the farm system already, a international prospect that signs early, something like that. I think that's the biggest thing that hurts it the most. Now, again, the pitch clock itself could be a little fast for some release points, and a lot of pitchers that were normally good struggled last year, especially in the beginning of the season, adjusting to that kind of thing. But now you have a second year under your belt, and you still have enough time to be able to adjust your pitching style. You can't just be a thrower like we were talking about a couple weeks ago with Mike Pinto. Like, pitchers actually have to be pitchers too. Like, they have the technology to make that kind of thing work. You have the pitch arsenal to make that kind of thing work. And you have to be able to adjust to that in games if you know you're injury prone already as it is. And a lot of these pitchers that have gotten hurt right now have already had other injury issues. So I do think there has to be a balance with that. I don't mind making the pitch clock not 20 seconds. I think that could be a little more, but regardless, that shouldn't be the only thing to blame for that kind of thing. And pitchers now, because they're throwing harder, they have to be managed differently too. And sometimes that has to go with the team offices. Sometimes it has to go with the managers themselves, reducing the amount of innings.
What happened to Harvey? Harvey was throwing too hard.
Yep.
What happened to Jacob deGrom? Why has he had 2 UCL tears in the same arm over the last, 10 years? Because he's throwing too hard. He's throwing 100-mile-per-hour fastballs when he doesn't need to.
He actually increases velocity.
Yeah, his changeup is as good as any changeup in baseball. Maybe when we compare changeups, greatest changeups I've ever seen in my time, Johan Santana and Jacob deGrom, 2 ex-Mets. I'm telling you right now, it's not normal when a guy throws 100-mile-per-hour fastballs and then a changeup that goes about 89. I mean, that's a hard changeup. In the 70s and 80s, if you throw a fastball about 91, 92, you're throwing a changeup at 75, 78. It's unbelievable. There's splitters. There are people throwing splitters at 93 mile per hour.
Yep.
93 miles per hour.
And that's the only way that you're going to be able to get in today's game, with, especially if you're a reliever too. Like, either cutters, 2-seam fastballs, sinkers, splitters, something like that. That's that hard, even in the low 90s, if you don't have the 95 plus velocity now. And that kind of thing is very difficult to be able to be sustainable over time. That's why a lot of relief pitchers are fluky nowadays. There's not a lot of great relief pitchers in the league today. And there's also, because of the micromanaging, there's also a lot of situations where maybe these pitchers, if you want them to throw that hard, shouldn't throw as many innings or shouldn't throw as many pitches. Now, the main issue with Jacob deGrom is he threw that 100-mile-an-hour fastball way too often.
Yep.
Like, it was one thing to look at it as a luxury for the Mets, like, say, oh, wow, Jacob deGrom's hit 100 miles an hour. He can use it. They had, whether it's his fault or the management, Rojas, whatever, they use it way too often. And that's going to be something that runs your arm into the ground.
It has something to do with management. It has something to do with analytics. I mean, everybody keeps talking about, sports becoming more analytic and analytically. And now they have their own departments, not just baseball, basketball, hockey, football. They all have their own analytic department, and they're paying them tons and tons of money to try to figure out the equation on what pitch is going to be more dominant against this hitter and what pitch you do not throw against this hitter, and where to throw the pitch that you don't want to throw against that hitter to that hitter, so he doesn't see the ball as good as if it's pitched in his wheelhouse. Mm-hmm. So it's analytics are everything in sports now, just like I believe sports has become a business. And it's all about money and how much money you can bring in and how many seats you can fill, how many jersey sales you can have, how many hot dogs you sell, how many hamburgers you sell.
And again, that kind of thing kind of contradicts with the pace of play thing, because you want your analytics department to be able to get the best out of the velocity and spin rate with these pitchers. But if you're also trying to have them try to rush all the time too, you have to be able to manage that as an organization. And that's where baseball has the hypocrisy. You want your star players on the field, but you also don't want them either getting hurt or coming out of the game quicker. So,
hence the reason why we've argued that steroids should be allowed in professional sports. Mm-hmm. Because if there's 162 games in a season, now you can't overdo it. Sure. I mean, But if you want to do HGH to keep yourself on the field and healthy, and listen, you're making millions and millions of dollars, and it doesn't bother you that it could affect you in the future, then do it. You should be allowed. How many ex-baseball players or even baseball players in the league right now that we've had on this show that said steroids should be allowed? Mm-hmm. How many? And I agree with you, Keith. In the old days, pitchers pitched more innings. Why? Because they don't throw as hard. In the olden days, an 89, 90-mile-per-hour fastball was hard. Mm-hmm. There was no torque on your arm. Now, every single pitcher, I mean, why do you think some of these pitchers that are consistent at 98, 99, eventually one or the other goes on you, your shoulder or your elbow goes on you? It's because of the torque. Watch the way their release point, how the elbows move. It doesn't stride forward. It strides to the side. There's so much torque on your elbow and your shoulder when you're releasing that ball. And remember, you're gripping that ball. It's got to be gripped a certain way for it to put a certain amount of spin on that particular pitch.
And that's why you need the analytics, because you need to be able to get that sense of direction. But if you're going to have him pitch a different way, you have to make sure that you manage it properly too. Otherwise, you're going to deal with all these injuries all at once, especially for a lot of these younger pitchers too. Now, Spencer Strider got paid by the Braves, but I don't think any of those other young guys got paid yet. So it's going to hurt them even financially. And that kind of thing really goes on their organizations for not managing it properly the way they could have, because a lot of these younger pitchers don't have that same kind of longevity the same way.
It's crazy. And again, I'm not taking shots at Tony Clark. He obviously, he's not a stupid man. He's trying to protect the players. Mm-hmm. He's standing up for the players, but he's not a bright man, because if he actually believes that the pitch clock is one of the main reasons why these people, these athletes, these pitchers are getting hurt, I mean, there are, I don't know, Jason Dominguez tore his UCL.
Right.
Is he a pitcher? Is he forced to throw the ball in 25 seconds or less? I mean, come on, guys.
Yeah, there's been catchers and shortstops that have gotten them too.
Yeah, there's elbow, shoulder problems from all these guys. Knee problems. Mm-hmm. You're going to blame the pitch clock for that? Come on, guys. TMZ reports that O.J. Simpson passed away at the age of 76 after battling cancer, ladies and gentlemen. He passed away late Wednesday night and was surrounded by his children and grandchildren when he passed. Simpson produced and acted in over 40 movies and TV shows, even some during his NFL career. His life changed in 1994, being connected to the stabbing of his ex-wife and friend in Los Angeles. Live coverage of the car chase and trial connected to this case aired on television, interrupting regular scheduled programming. Simpson won a Heisman Trophy, was a 6-time Pro Bowl running back, 5-time All-Pro player, had the first 2,000-yard rushing season in his NFL career, and finished with 11,236 rushing yards and 61 touchdowns. First of all, I'm not going to be happy about this man's career. This man's a killer. This man killed and murdered his wife. Murdered an innocent man. Okay? He got off with murder. I don't know if anybody's seen the 30 for 30. I don't know if you watched the 2-part story, the O.J. Simpson case. Cuba Gooding Jr. played O.J. Simpson on FX. It was very popular. When I was a kid in 94, when the Rangers won the Stanley Cup and the Knicks went to the NBA Finals, this was the main story. This was the biggest story in sports. O.J. Simpson murdering his wife or ex-wife and her lover because he was jealous. And the only reason why he wasn't convicted is because of all the racist things that was going on outside of sports and the world, which was just terrible. And that there was not enough proof after the fact when there was. How much of an oxymoron was that? Because they investigated the situation wrong. The cops, the racist cop that was investigating the story, not bagging different things that they should have at the scene. This man literally got away with murder. I don't care how nice of a guy he was, how many pictures everybody's posting up off of social media right now. Oh, OJ, he was a good man. The man wasn't a good man. He wasn't a good man. He admitted to his best friend, who's a chef, while they were smoking marijuana, that he killed his wife. He admitted to it, that he got away with murder. Many of his friends said that OJ admitted to them that he was involved with it. That should tell you about who he is as a person, as a man. Then, with all his trophies, his Heisman Trophy and all these memorabilia stuff, after he got away with everything, killing his wife and her lover, a few years later when he got away with murder, this guy goes into a hotel trying to steal back his memorabilia with a gun and gets arrested and thrown into jail for what? What was it, 5?
I think 10 years after that. Then
I don't think he went to jail for 10 years.
Then he got out in 2017. And of course, he's like, the Bills make the playoffs. And of course, he's celebrating with them. Yeah, okay.
This guy was still getting paid by the NFL.
Yep.
Because he's a Hall of Famer. And that he played enough years in the NFL, so he gets his NFL package that every single ex-player gets. This man did not care about life that he took away. How could his kids and his grandchildren sit beside him at his deathbed after and I don't care what they think, for a fact, this is the man that killed your mother, your grandmother. It is despicable, okay? I am not going to praise this man. I will not praise this man. Is he one of the greatest running backs of all time? No question.
Yeah.
Was he one of the most respected players at one point as an analyst for CBS Sports? Yeah, he was. I saw him on so many Hertz commercials. It was so funny. Him and his afro. It was so funny. He always had this big afro and he'd come out of the Hertz car. I think he did it purposely because it was funny.
Yeah, 70s, 80s style afro.
It was funny.
Yeah.
It was something to laugh about. And OJ was all about making people laugh. He really was. He always had this nice smile. But there was always something about him. That smile, that smirk, there was something evil about it. Something. And it's a shame because 2 people should be alive.
Yep.
2 people. Now, who knows? They were not together when she was hanging out with another man. They were not together. But his jealousy and corruption because of who he is and who he was as a movie star, television star, and a football analyst, he thought he can get away with it.
Right. That's what I was saying. Fame and fortune can lead you to do stupid things. And that's what ended up happening. Because like you said, he's probably a top 10 running back all time. He's probably one of the better college running backs of all time. And yeah, as on the field, production-wise was good and obviously did a lot of movies. But yeah, that fame and fortune can lead you to do dumb things that were caught on TV, to a whole filming of this car chase that ended up happening in 1994. I remember my parents always saying, oh, it interrupted I think it interrupted something with the Rangers. I know it directly.
It interrupted the Rangers and the Knicks.
I think right. I think it directly interrupted an NBA Finals game for the Knicks.
And 94, the Yankees. This was 94-95 was during the Yankees, Don Mattingly, the Seattle run, before Derek Jeter. I mean, this was when Derek Jeter was coming up in the league. Mariano was coming up. Bernie Williams was already up in the league. This was the time that the transition of the Yankees and their dynasty was happening.
Mm-hmm. And Keith also mentioned it too. I remember he downplayed the arrest after he beat up Nicole years before he killed her, which, yeah, that shows you what type of person he really was. Yeah, he could be smiling in these commercials all you want. Yeah, it's called acting for a reason. He wasn't that type of person off the field, and you could definitely tell, like, even coming out of jail for the one crime, like you said, commits the other, commits an armed robbery, commits the theft of his memorabilia. Like, you really? Come on, you're like not helping your cause here.
I'm not going to sit here and praise this man.
No,
I won't do it. I'm not going to do it. Is he dead? Yes. Bad people die at young ages. The good, everybody says the good die young. This man shouldn't have lived to 76 years old.
No.
This man, if he went to jail at the time after killing his wife and her lover, he probably would have been killed or killed himself in jail. He wouldn't have lasted. I know everybody all over social media, O.J. Simpson, everybody was posting up pictures of them and O.J. Simpson. If I ever met O.J. Simpson, I would have punched his ass out. He's evil. He was a bad man. I don't know why everybody praises this man. Was he a great running back? Good for him. There's many great running backs. Curtis Martin was great. Did he kill somebody? Curtis Martin saw his grandmother murdered. He tells the story every day, every time he goes up there and he talks about concussions. Curtis Martin walked in. His grandmother was stabbed to death. He didn't do it. He lived in a neighborhood where there was evil people in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, look at what happened to Sean Taylor, too. Gets shot in his own home.
Things happen. But when you see this, we talk about Caruth yesterday.
Yes.
Caruth killed his girlfriend because she was pregnant. And then hid in his new girlfriend's trunk, pissed and crapped himself, and stayed in there with a bottle of water for almost 48 hours.
Good job for leaving no DNA traces.
And he's still trying to get out of jail.
Yeah, good luck with that one. Yes, Keith, Curtis Martin is a class act. Yes, definitely. Errol's mentioned it a lot. He's done some of the best work with some of the concussion protocol, the concussion growth research of the game that's helped hopefully get Roger Goodell's logic together, but you never know with Roger
There's
Goodell.
no logic with Roger Goodell.
There's
nothing.
Definitely no logic with Roger Goodell. And we have Nathan now with us.
What's going on, Nathan?
Hey, Errol. Hey, Speedy. What's up, guys? How you doing?
We're good, man. Obviously, speaking about this, good for
I agree with both of you 100%. I'm not gonna praise this guy either. I know he was a great player on the field, but bad person off the field. So now we just move on and good riddance. I mean, I'm not gonna say any praise this guy like you guys said, and this guy did some bad stuff, and he should have been in prison for it, and he went off free, and I think the court justice system, when he was in court, they didn't do it properly. They didn't investigate it properly. They should have put him in jail right away. So I mean, yeah. So I'm not gonna praise this guy like you guys said, and this what a bad person. And like you said, Errol, 2 people should be still alive here in this world, and 2 people are gone, and now we just had to.
And what I don't understand, Nathan, is that his children, his grandchildren, were sitting at the bed.
Yeah. So apparently, I don't know if you guys saw the tweet from his Twitter account. Maybe it was a family member, but
his PR guy.
Yeah,
it was
PR
his
guy.
PR. No doubt about it.
Yeah. So they said the grandchildren and the children were there by his side, which I don't get. It's confusing to me because you guys brought, like you said, that he killed the mother of the child and then also the grandmother. So it was kind of odd for me to see when they on Twitter that they were by his side on his deathbed. So
I don't really care. Honestly, if his kids are going to praise him, they could have had their mother in their life. These kids, when their mother was murdered, okay, they were babies. They were kids. I think his son his son was like 8 or 9 years old, and his daughter was like 10. I mean, they were kids. They were babies when their mom was murdered. They never had a chance to even spend and get married. That their mom, especially the son, his mom walked down with him, or his mom, there to dance with him at his wedding because of this man, his father.
Mhm.
And he's praising him and being there for him at his deathbed. He's a sick individual. And by the way, all those lawyers, every single one of his lawyers but one, are all gone.
Yeah.
All of them. Do you think that's a coincidence? Every single one of them. And two out of the 4 or 5 lawyers that he had died from cancer. And so did he.
Mhm.
It is despicable. It is a disgusting thing that everybody is praising this man. I don't even think anybody should be talking about him. The fact that we are, it's ridiculous. But
And
hey,
I'm watching some channel here right now. They just showed the car chase, the famous car chase that happened with him, and they're still talking about him on CNN. But I feel like tomorrow is gonna be a new day, and everybody's gonna forget about this tomorrow. So I hope
nobody's going to forget about this, Nathan. Nobody, because this guy for years was one of the most loved guys. I mean, how many commercials? Nathan, you weren't even alive when this either was Speedy. I used to see OJ on every other commercial. Sports, if there was anything to do with football, it was Bo Jackson, it was Deion Sanders, it was OJ Simpson.
Mhm.
Those were the football players on all the football commercials growing up. 3 guys. I used to see Bo Jackson, so many commercials, Deion Sanders, Prime Time, and obviously OJ Simpson. Those were the 3 football guys. And then there was obviously Dave Winfield. He was on a bunch of commercials. Kirby Puckett was fun, fun and energetic, had a nice smile. People loved him. I mean, it's sick. How could you sit here and praise this man? The fact that everybody is posting up, it just sickens me, man. How many pictures have I seen of these people posing with OJ Simpson?
Yeah, I guess all those people just believe he's still innocent, which he's not.
First of all, I was arguing with Brittany's mom a couple of weeks ago. We were speaking about this a couple of weeks ago, and she thought for many, many years that this man was innocent. Her and her brother thought that this man was innocent when he really did murder his wife and her lover. Disgusting. And you want to know something? I call him the lover because even though he deserves to be mentioned, his name should be mentioned. His family is probably praising his death right now. That the fact that this guy has been free for the last 6, 7, 8 years, the way he has, it's despicable. It is a disgusting thing. The fact that everybody talks of, there are innocent people right now in jail. I said this 2 segments ago. And the fact that this man was free and saying those gloves they didn't fit because he had a rubber glove under it before he put those gloves on, and it ridiculous.
Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous.
How do you even justify that? That doesn't.
I have no idea. Former Warriors GM Bob Myers said that the video of Draymond Green punching Jordan Poole was leaked out of nowhere, and they still can't find the identity of who was involved with it. Myers also said that on the JJ Redick podcast, that part of the reason he stepped down from the Warriors was not having to make a tough decision on Steph Curry. Myers has switched sports now and is a part of the Commanders' new front office. Draymond took shots at the NBA officiating, saying that he has double standard by NBA referees. This came after he tried to defend a layup from Lakers guard Austin Reeves, which appeared to be an elbow in the face. Draymond also took shots at Zach Edey, saying he quit on Purdue in the national championship game. Edey scored 37 points of Purdue's 60 points in the national championship loss against UConn. All right. I have a lot to impact on this stupid, dumb comment on a stupid podcast by Draymond Green.
First of all, Draymond Green. First of all, if I were the Warriors, I would not bring him back. He is crazy, and he's still not learning when it comes to being respectful on the court, and he's still not. He should know by now that if he does something wrong, he's going to get ejected and get technical fouls or get fined. He should know that by now, and he's still doing this stuff on the court, which is not. It's especially if the Warriors are trying to do something, make another playoff run or whatever. He needs to be a team person again. He needs to be like one of the team leaders.
Bob Myers coming out and bringing up the Draymond Green, Jordan Poole. First of all, if Bob Myers didn't know about this video not being leaked, he should have gotten rid of it. All right. The fact is, he knew that there was a video out there. He was the GM of the organization at the time that this thing was leaked. Why didn't he? We know the Patriots with Spygate got rid of all those tapes. How did he not get rid of all these tapes?
Mm-hmm.
That's one. Number two, he left the Golden State Warriors because he didn't want to make the tough decision on Steph Curry. That's a crock of you-know-what, too. Because he knew that Steph Curry was still his best player. He still knew that Steph Curry was going to be an elite player in this league. He just knew Klay Thompson sucked. Kevin Durant was gone. Draymond Green was a shell of himself, and there was nobody. All the picks in Wiseman and Poole, they have failed. Now, Poole was playing pretty good basketball at the time. He's the one who gave him the $130 million contract. He was the one. He was hiding from that contract. That was a terrible contract. The second contract he gave to Klay Thompson was horrible. That contract, the third contract he gave to Draymond Green, was absolutely ridiculous. Those are the facts. Bob Myers ran because he wants to be looked like the superstar of those championship teams.
Yeah, and you also look at Draymond Green's just reputation even now. Like, that kind of thing started to transpire last year, and you should have seen that kind of thing coming. And now you're going to blame a staff member or a camera guy that, this video shouldn't have been leaked. No, know Draymond has a reputation. Why aren't you trying to protect your other player, Jordan Poole? Yeah, you gave him a big contract, but no, let's go pay him, then trade him again because he's the problem. No, the problem is the one that actually threw the punch and the one that's been ejected from all these games and now is choking people and all this other crap.
I don't care what Klay Thompson is doing right now, Keith. I could care less because Klay Thompson's a shell of himself. Now, is he having a better season than he did the last two seasons? Yeah, but that's not saying much. What is this team right now? What a 10 seed?
9 seed.
A 9 seed?
And I want to bring up a point. Remember the incident? This goes back when they were teammates. Remember during practice, Draymond Green went up to Jordan Poole or something to punch him in practice.
This is what they're talking about.
Referring to. They apparently, the video shouldn't have been leaked. Oh, yeah. Maybe your player shouldn't have thrown a punch.
Maybe as a GM, you get rid of the video. How's that? Mm-hmm. Finding out who was recording it and make sure that everybody gets rid of it. That's what a GM's supposed to do. You're going to sit here and make excuses now saying that you knew nothing about it. Get out of here. You knew nothing about it. You knew everything about it. And now that it's leaked, and Draymond Green is a bully. That's what he is. He's a bully. He can say whatever he wants. On national television, Charles Barkley loves him. Shaquille O'Neal likes him. Kenny the Jet Smith likes him. Great. Congratulations to them. We all know this guy is a bully. This guy is not, he's inhuman. And he has no respect for the league. He has no respect for the players. And by the way, I have heard many different stories over the past year that Steph Curry and Draymond Green has had it out in that locker room more than numerous amount of times. And the only reason why it hasn't come out is because Steph Curry has been keeping it inside the locker room.
And how far is that going to go, too? Because we were talking about it last week, too. See, Steve Kerr and Steph Curry were calling out Draymond Green for these ejections. Now, this week, Draymond Green, it gets ejected with that whole elbow thing. Oh, I deserve a double standard? No, you don't. Like, come on. Like, eventually, you're going to get more players to turn on you. Even Steph Curry, your closest friend on the team, allegedly, for years. Klay Thompson saying, I have to go evaluate my mental health now because of all this other stuff that's going on.
My question to you is, why is a GM from the NBA going to the NFL? Does that make any sense to you?
Yeah, the Browns did it first. The Browns did it
first.
first.
I know.
Yeah.
From the Mets, we all know. Has it worked? No. I mean, have they won a Super Bowl? No. How does this work? Okay, the Commanders, an organization that has failed after failure after failure in a division that at one point was very winnable. Okay, so it doesn't make sense how these GMs jump ship from one sport to another sport, and it makes sense. Why? Because analytics don't give you everything, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't. As much as you could put it on paper and say it makes sense, analytics don't give you everything.
Not in football, especially. Like the Browns doing that at the time was very surprising because they needed to. I know they needed to take a chance on some things, but still, like they're not a good organization as it was.
And when is the NBA going to speak up? How many times does Draymond Green have to hurt somebody on the court, practically try to kill somebody on the court? That elbow was intentional. Okay, I don't care what he says after the game. That was an intentional elbow. Him stepping on LeBron James's, was intentional. Him kicking Adams in the balls was intentional. Everything that him choking out Rudy Gobert was intentional.
Yeah.
All of it was intentional. Ron Artest was suspended and had to go for extracurricular activities off the court. He had to show David Stern everything, all these different doctors that he had to go and see, how many anxiety pills and all the different depression pills he had to take before he stepped back on a basketball court because of what he did in Indiana. I honestly, the fact that the NBA is letting this guy still play and open his big fat mouth is ridiculous. And then attack a young kid like Zach Edey saying that he quit on Purdue. Really? So a guy that scored 37 out of his team's 60 points, he quit on? Oh, come on, guys. Let me tell you something, Draymond. When was the last time you scored 37 points in a game?
Yeah.
When was the last time you can say that you were the leading scorer of your team?
When's the last time that Draymond Green scored 2/3 of his team's points?
Let me ask you a question. When was the last time you played in a national championship game?
Yep.
How are you? You weren't even a leader of that team. You weren't even the best player. That's why you were a second-round draft pick.
He wasn't nowhere close to even like a top 10 player in college basketball either, which Zach Edey has been like consistently top 5 for 3 years.
It is an absolute joke when this man opens his mouth and he spits out the craziness. And you know what?
And Adam Silver is not doing anything.
I was just about to say that. I'm going to give you my spiel about Adam Silver. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, you can do the spiel, but I was going to say, Adam Silver is not David Stearns. David Stearns was on point on everything when he was there. Rest in peace, David Stearns. He was on point with everything, whatever happened in the NBA. So, and Adam Silver is not doing that.
David Stern was all about the league, wasn't about the players.
Yeah.
Adam Silver has become more for the players. And yes, even though the players are everything to the league, this league's been around a lot longer than LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Chris Paul, Carmelo Anthony, Dwayne Wade, and all those baby back bitches. Okay,
go back to the Dennis Rodman days, even
those baby back bitches. That's what I call them. All they do is cry because they didn't get what they wanted. And I loved Carmelo Anthony. All he did was bitch. All he did was go out there and cry, and isolate every other player on the court. That's what he did. It was all isolation. It never works. Isolation never worked. How many teams have won championships running an isolation game? Not even the Bulls. They played in the triangle. It doesn't work. And I'm going to tell you this. Adam Silver is a complete moron. He has completely changed my mind on who he is as a commissioner, as a man that is running. He should have taken that Disney job. I've said this many, many times. When it was offered to him, he should have taken it. It is an embarrassment that he lets this man speak and say the crap that comes out of his mouth.
Yep.
I would have dropped the hammer on this man. But why? Why hasn't he? This guy is hurting team after team, player after player, coach after coach, speaking out and hurting players that he's never even met. And Zach Edey, who did nothing to him, had nothing to do with Michigan State. It's Purdue.
Yep.
When was the last time Purdue played in a national championship game? And by the way, why were they in the national championship game?
1960 something. They lost to UCLA was like the last time they played, and 1980 was the last time they were in the Final Four.
Take a bite out of that, Mr. Draymond.
Yeah. And again, you're going to blame somebody that scored like 3/4 of your team points in the first half. Okay, he struggled at the start of the second half. Fine. But he scored 37 points, had a double-double, and is a rebounding defensive machine.
Yep.
And is 7'6", and you're going to bash the guy for that. You wish you were 7 foot, Draymond. Maybe you would have this better longevity.
First of all, he's a Hall of Famer. There's no question Draymond Green is a Hall of Famer. But everybody in the NBA is a Hall of Famer now. Everybody. You name it, they're in the Hall of Fame now. I look at Hall of Famers, I look at the best of the best. The guys that dominated their position. Draymond Green did not dominate his position. Has he won Defensive Player of the Year? There were a couple of years that I can honestly say that he shouldn't have won, but he did.
Yep.
Okay? Now, I'm not saying Draymond Green wasn't a great two-way player, and he's not a good offensive player, but this man has been nothing but a bully ever since he stepped on the court. Now bullies have been around for many, many years, especially in the 90s. We interviewed one of them, Charles Oakley. He was a bully. Anthony Mason, nicest guy I've ever met, a bully. Bill Laimbeer, he's still a prick. Bully. Dennis Rodman,
Yeah.
he started off to be a nice guy and then became a bully. He was a bad boy. You need those guys, but not when they do things like Draymond Green when the game is different now. You cannot choke somebody up. You know, Charles Barkley, when he was trying to do it to Shaquille O'Neal in those times, it was legal. They didn't care. Everybody wanted to see Charles Barkley and Shaquille O'Neal fight with one another. Now they're butt buddies.
Look at that great stat from Fish. 8.8 points per game for Draymond Green. I wonder how quickly it took Zach Edey to score over 8 points in the national championship game. Yeah, take that into consideration, Draymond, before you start criticizing him.
I just think it's ridiculous.
Speaking of
go ahead.
Speaking of Dennis Rodman, we got Dennis Rodman coming to the Woodbridge Brewing Company May 11th. So whoever's in the New Jersey area, whoever wants to meet Dennis Rodman, come to the Woodbridge Brewing Company May 11th.
Yes, and I will be there, ladies.
And that's where we had Charles Oakley at the Woodbridge Brewing Company.
Yes, and Dennis Rodman will be there. We will be interviewing him. He's fantastic. And this weekend, we were supposed to meet Dante DiVincenzo, but because of, obviously he's going to have to sign a lot of autographs. We're not going to get a chance to interview him. So we're going to go out there and interview Sean Avery, ex-Ranger, bully. You know, he's another bully, not only to, ex-NHL players, but, to supermodels as well.
He's an actor now. He's an actor also.
Oh, I'm sorry. What's he acting now? Television commercials?
No, movie. He's in a movie called, Hoppenai, whatever it's called.
Oppenheimer?
Yeah, he's in there.
He was in Oppenheimer? I didn't see him in Oppenheimer. Maybe I missed him. Maybe I missed him. So
maybe he knocked somebody out and then
I didn't get to watch the whole movie, by the way. I wanted to check out that whole movie, but it's 3 hours. Sitting there for 3 hours, it's just too much for me. I mean, I barely could sit there for 2 hours. Then again, 3 hours. 3 hours and 10 minutes.
Are you guys going to come with us to hang out with Frankie Edgar also that same night?
Maybe. We might do that. We're not doing anything Saturday night. Why not? Why not go hang out with the Frankster? Maybe, Speedy, he'll show you his Frank. What do you think? He'll show you his Frank.
I don't even want to know what that means. If I assume based on what it is, I don't think I want to know.
You could bring the bun, he'll bring the Frank.
I don't care. I could get a hot dog if I want a hot dog. I don't need to get it for some guy, whatever is attached to his body.
Well, I didn't say it was attached to his body.
You're implying it.
Do you want
You're
it to be
implying it
attached?
and you know it.
I'm just asking.
You're implying it and you know it.
I didn't imply anything. You're implying that I implied it.
Yeah.
But
I know your track record.
yeah, but this Draymond Green thing, I'm surprised he hasn't learned yet. He's still doing all this crazy stuff. And like I said, Adam Silver, he needs to start doing stuff. He needs to stop praising the players. He needs to focus for everybody.
He won't. I'm going to tell you why he's not going to do it, because the NBA is bringing in so much money right now. Even at a tournament, he's not going to get rid of that tournament. That tournament was a joke. How does the Lakers win the tournament? They're barely making the playoffs. How does that happen? How does that happen? How does one of the worst teams in the Western Conference come out and win that tournament? And they were making it seem like they won an NBA championship, celebrating because they made it, an extra $100,000?
Oh, great. Player? Yeah, LeBron James gets more money.
What's he doing? He probably helped his son buy his mansion. Here, son. Here's $100,000. Enjoy it. Go buy a couple boxes of baseball cards. I mean, seriously, Drake goes out and buys $50,000, $60,000 worth of baseball cards every other week. I mean, he doesn't care. Money is no object to him. LeBron James is a multi-billionaire. What does he care about 100,000 championship? And the fact that they won this first tournament, those wonderful courts and the wonderful new jerseys that they have. Congratulations to the NBA and that's why Adam Silver's not going to do anything. Because they're making millions and millions of dollars off these players and their names. He doesn't care. As long as he's bringing in revenue, he doesn't give a crap what these players do. He doesn't care.
They're trying to stress load management, and then they're going to put in an extra tournament to get more money.
It's a joke.
Yeah, we're talking about it with baseball. Like, figure out your values. Like, are you trying to prioritize this? You're trying to prioritize players' health. Oh, Joe Dumars says, load management's not directly correlated, and now you're going to add more games and then do that.
Joe Dumars, another guy that don't we love him? I mean, he was the GM for those Detroit Pistons. He won a couple of championships with the bad boys, the Pistons. And by the way, he wasn't a bad boy. Joe Dumars was a nice guy, but he played with a lot of mean SOBs. Okay,
Isaiah Thomas.
I don't know if Isaiah was a bad boy. A lot of people don't like what he did, walking off the court and not shaking the Bulls' hands when they got knocked out in the 90s.
He was on our show a couple years
ago. I know Isaiah was on the show, and I know you interviewed him during COVID. I remember. I don't hate Isaiah Thomas. And by the way, he was blamed for that. It wasn't Isaiah Thomas's fault.
Yeah.
It was Bill Laimbeer who told all the players, let's walk off the court. Now, Isaiah could have been a leader and said, no, I'm going to shake Jordan's hand. They finally beat us, blah, 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 blah. They won 2 titles. It's time to hand the torch over to the Bulls. No, Isaiah listened to Laimbeer, listened to the other players, and walked off the court like nothing happened. And then he makes an excuse. Now, Michael Jordan, in some ways, has forgotten about it. I think they've made up about it. Michael Jordan, I don't care what anybody says, Isaiah Thomas was not on the dream team because of Michael Jordan. He should have been on that dream team.
Yep.
He was one of the greatest point guards of that era. Him and Magic Johnson, you could argue they were the 2 best ones.
Yep.
From 80 to 93, and John Stockton came into the league in the late 80s. So John Stockton was becoming one of the better point guards in the league, but it was really Magic Johnson and Isaiah Thomas. Those are the 2 best point guards in the NBA. And the fact that Isaiah Thomas didn't make the team, and Magic Johnson was very close with Isaiah until they played in the finals.
Yeah.
And Isaiah did what he did. And, I don't know if anybody remembers what happened, and it pissed off Magic. And Magic and him kind of defriended each other. They didn't want to be friends anymore. And Magic was okay with Isaiah not making the dream team. Every one of them were. Isaiah was hated by a lot of people because Isaiah had a very unique personality. He came from an organization that didn't give a crap. He comes, and by the way, his coach was the coach of the dream team, which was surprising.
Yeah.
That he didn't make the dream team after they decided that. It was just a lot of different things, and I'm a little lost with what the NBA is now. I'm not a big fan of it anymore. Basketball growing up was my favorite sport.
Yeah.
I was a hockey player. I played a lot of sports. Basketball was my favorite sport. I followed the Knicks. I watched every single Knick game. And remember, there was no basketball packages. If you didn't have cable, and you never get a chance to see Michael Jordan 82 games unless you were in Chicago watching the Chicago Bowl games. I mean, I watched every single Knick game. And I could tell you every single player on those Knick teams. Every single player on those Knick teams. I loved them. I loved Pat Riley. I loved Jeff Van Gundy. I remember Tom Thibodeau on the bench. I remember him. Skinny, not as ugly or fat, but I knew Tom Thibodeau. And I knew he was going to be a good coach. Mostly every Pat Riley disciple has been successful in the NBA as a head coach.
Yep.
And he was one of the greats. And he's one of the greatest GMs too.
The-
But I'm not going to sit here and make excuses. And going back to Draymond Green, the guy is a moron. The guy does not belong to, he does not, I believe the NBA needs to step in and say, hey, listen, during the NBA season, you are not permitted to do a podcast.
Yep.
You want to make your money. Now, obviously, you can't do it right now because he's in a contract and you can't make those rules. And Adam Silver knows that. But I believe the Golden State Warriors should have done something with this. This man has been getting away with murder in what he's saying. He's thrown some of his own players under the bus on his show. How are you a part of an organization and you know that one of your best players is talking about one of your young players and not getting along with them in the locker room, or one of your best players or one of your leaders doesn't like one of your best players? It doesn't make sense. That is good. And I'm telling you the reason why Bob Myers left. He knew everything was coming down. It was going downhill, and he wanted to get out of there as soon as possible. He won his championships. He made his money, and he left. Because if he ever wants to be a GM in the NBA again, he can be. Because he left when the team was on top. And that's the facts, Jack. We're still waiting for our first guest and our only guest tonight, Emmy Award winning sports broadcaster Dave Benz. He should be yes, so we're waiting for him to join us. Speedy, have you reached out to him?
I just texted him twice.
So hopefully we'll see Dave join us in just a few moments. What was that, Nathan?
No, I said Dave Benz. That's a great get. I like what they do. He does.
Well, Dave has been on our show before. The last time I think he was on, we argued about something.
Yeah, something with basketball. I don't remember. I think it was something with the 3-pointers or something.
Mhm.
Something like that.
But a lot of these basketball guys we have on the show, these analysts and analytic guys, they come on the show and they argue with me because I love the game of basketball.
And also, speaking of guests, my team is working on getting you guys an agent on the show. So I'll keep you updated.
We want to speak to the agent because we want to get some of their clients to come on our show.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying my team is trying to get you an agent on your show.
Well, thank you. We would love that. We would love that. Speedy would love it too. I mean, look at that face. I mean, it's not much to look at, but it's something, right? Speedy, are we good?
You're technically looking at it. I can just go.
Am I really looking at it?
I don't know.
Should I look at it?
I don't know.
Do you think yourself as a sexy man?
You know that answer.
I'm asking you.
You know that answer.
I know the answer, but do the people know that answer?
Keith, if you want to know, you can know. I'm not super high on that.
Well, you should really be high on that. The women love you. The people love you.
We all
love you. I mean, Nathan would love to jump your bones, right, Nith?
What?
I'm just
Oh my
mentioning.
God.
Yeah, that could be factual.
We got- we
Fish
got-
loves you.
We gotta. All the ladies love Speedy.
Well, let's call him Fuzz Bucket. Okay, does anybody
All the
anybody
all
see
the
that
all,
Disney movie?
all the all
Okay.
the ladies love him. All the ladies
We're
love
gonna call
him.
him Fuzzy. All right.
You know what I'm saying?
Fuzzy Sheets.
All the ladies love him, Arrow.
Well, I don't know about every single lady. I mean, Fish's wife doesn't love him. I mean, Fish.
Fish's wife doesn't know me.
How do you know she doesn't know you? Maybe she's got pictures.
I've never
of you.
interacted with Fish's wife.
Maybe she has pictures of you in the bathroom. She looks at when she's going to the bathroom. I mean, that would be a sight. I mean, every time I'm taking a dump, I'm looking at you.
Sean Smith loves him. Sean Smith.
Oh, Sean loves him. Sean absolutely adores him. He hates me, but loves him.
Now you have 3 different competitions. So you got workout competition. Oh, Sean claimed yesterday that he could beat you at basketball.
Sean's out of his mind.
And then the race.
I mean, listen, maybe Sean, when he was playing football and he was playing sports, he could beat me. There's no way that man can beat me in these sports. I'm faster than he is. There's no way he can compete with me. There's no way.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if Sean Smith could do 50 push-ups.
I can do 80 push-ups in a minute.
I got to see this.
I've done that before.
I got to see this.
I'll put a video out there. I'll put.
I want to see if it's. You got to go all the way down.
Yeah.
And all the way up in a minute.
Yeah.
80 push-ups in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm interested to see this. Oh.
So we have Nathan versus Errol versus Sean. Now.
Oh, you're going to tell me in a push-up contest? I do more than that in a minute. I could do more than that in a minute.
In a minute?
Oh yeah. Oh man, do you know how many push-ups I do every single week?
100? 130?
3,000.
3,000?
I do 3,000 push-ups every single week.
Oh my God.
I go to the gym. I'm going to tell you, people. I'm going to tell you how I do it. I go to the gym. I do 5 exercises at the gym. I'm not in the gym more than an hour. I work out myself. So I go through. I do 5 sets. Every set that I do 25 push-ups. Okay? So you count it down on just the workouts. That's a little bit over 400 push-ups right there. I do 250 push-ups sometimes in the morning and sometimes 250 push-ups at night.
Mm-hmm.
By the time the week is over, I'm over 3,000 push-ups.
Wow.
I get 12,000 push-ups a month. I've been doing it for the last year and a half. I've been doing it. And that's not counting my workouts and all the other stuff that I do. So it's one of the things that I push myself to do. And I tell people, you do push-ups, you don't have to go to the gym.
Mm-hmm.
You don't. You do push-ups, you don't have to go to the gym.
Yep.
So you're pushing up your body weight. So I've always been structured on the way I do that. And people don't believe me. And I've shown people I could do 120 push-ups without stopping.
I'll put the video out there either tomorrow or the weekend.
All right, let's see it. Anyways, Nathan, we'll see you this weekend. I'll reach out to you tomorrow. Thank you for joining us, buddy.
No problem. And thank you again for putting my articles on your site.
Oh, thank you for joining us and being a part of, a combination of what we do for the NR Hour and the Loudmouth and the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. And by the way, his logo, his partnership is up on our website. You just click the logo and you can check out his beautiful website, all the stories that he writes and all the things that he does in New Jersey and throughout the tri-state. It's fantastic.
By the way, all the team, the Toms River South team shared your link on their story. The lacrosse team loved this website and the article, and a lot of people are sharing the links now that I've been sending them. So,
well, thank you very much. We really appreciate you, Nathan. We love you.
Is David coming on or is he late?
David's coming
yeah,
right
he was
in.
having some internet issues.
All right. So keep watching.
He's in now.
Keep watching, Nathan. We're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, we only have one guest. Only one guest tonight, as one canceled on us. We were very upset. Speedy was crying. He was crying. Speedy, were you not crying?
No.
I think I know who it is who canceled, right? It's
who was it, Speedy?
Can I guess?
Can you get? Sure, you can guess.
He was a former quarterback.
Nope.
No.
No, it was a former offensive lineman. Brad Hopkins. He played for the Titans and the Oilers.
Oh yeah, I interviewed him before, Brad Hopkins. Yeah.
Yeah. So
You also rode him like a horse, right?
What?
Yeah, I heard you rode him like a horse.
What do you mean rode him? What are you talking?
You jumped on his back. You rode him.
No,
that wasn't you.
no, it was Speedy. It was Speedy.
Must have been Speedy. Anyways, Nathan, thank you for joining us as always. We love you. Keep up the good work. Keep doing your stories, writing your stories, and doing everything for the NR Hour and everything on the Tri-State. You're fantastic. Thank you very much. When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, we will be talking to Emmy Award winning sports broadcaster Dave Benz here on the Sports Loudmouth.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Hi, this is Terry Crews, actor, former football player, game show host, father of 5, and all-around big dude. I'm also an expert on drama. I know all kinds of drama. There's the good kind that comes with having a house full of kids. There's the bad kind, like season-ending injuries. There's the necessary kind, like having an agent in Hollywood. And there's silly drama, like the drama around my percolating pectorals. And then there's the drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your high school diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org.
Or text diploma to 97779. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out. That's diploma to 97779. And leave the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. This is the Sports Loudmouth.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen. We are the Sports Loudmouth. I'm your host, Errol Marks, my co-host, Speedy Petey. Go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week, including the Loudmouth with me, Speedy Petey, and ex-NFL player Sean Smith. Every single Wednesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. All you have to do to tune in and check out our local listings is go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. And you could call us, ladies and gentlemen. Thank God Jeff hasn't called us yet. I do not want to hear from him tonight. The arguing and his craziness is not going to be accepted tonight. But you can call us at 631-672-3108. We only have one guest tonight, and he is an Emmy Award-winning sports broadcaster. He's been on our show before, and we're happy to have him on again, Dave Benz. Dave, what's up, buddy?
Dave, you're muted.
You got to unmute yourself, man. We're lost. I don't think he's muted. I think he's got to go in and out, Speedy.
All right, I'm gonna call you, Dave. I'm gonna put you on the on the audio.
Yeah, just leave the video up and just call him on the phone and put him through, and that'll be fine. I think that would be good. But we're going to get Dave Benz on the show.
Okay, how about now?
There you go.
Good. There you go.
All right. It defaulted to, I thought I changed the setting when I came in, but it defaulted to I don't have my mixer hooked up for my radio show. And when I went into your studio, I changed it to the Mac mic, but it didn't stick apparently. So
Dave,
anyway.
Listen, Dave, we need to help you. We need to help you. Speedy, we need to send you. Where are you located right now, Dave?
Right now, I'm just outside of San Francisco in Mill Valley, California.
All right, Speedy. I have a plane. I have a jet in the backyard. We're going to throw you in that jet, and we're going to fly you over there. It'll take you probably a couple hours, but by then the show will be over, so we can't do that.
Plus, you're not a licensed pilot, so I wouldn't trust you.
Well, it wouldn't be me.
You're gonna go hire a pilot just to do that.
I'll hire Tyler Harrison. Okay.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna trust Tyler Harrison to fly a plane.
I mean, he can fly his sausage.
You've got access to a plane at moment's notice. That's impressive.
I mean, what can I say? I mean, I've got the power, baby. I got the power. So do you. I mean, you're doing great things. It's unbelievable. Last time we had you, now you got a beautiful backdrop. I mean, you're rocking it, man.
Well, last time I think I was in I was in the sweat house in Dallas, wasn't I? I
think you were outside on your yard or something like the last time.
Oh, wasn't I? All right.
Last year when we had you on.
You were in a cocoon. I was
I'm always going to a different spot, man. But yeah, now I got my little mini studio, but I had to tear it down not tear it down, but I took it apart because I had to do a couple of things earlier today, and I didn't have time to set it back up. And then when I was trying to get on with the show, I had my alarm set for 5:20 Pacific, and I was like, all right, I got to get set up, and my damn Wi-Fi was down. Comcast has been like they've not been reliable, man, at all. It's been brutal.
I wouldn't cry about that because we have Optimum and Verizon, and they're not too good either. So, I mean, it's crazy. I will say this. In certain sports in certain areas of the country, Louisiana, we've had guys from Louisiana, their internet is horrible. Cleveland, horrible. And I've heard Comcast out there and all these big organizations, and I'm like, man, your internet sucks.
And Mark Kelly takes the cake.
Oh my God. Mark Everett Kelly, Emmy Award winning as well. He's no longer with ESPN, but he's a friend of the show. We love him. Mark is like a brother to me. And he's teaching right now out. Is it Alabama? Alabama. And his internet is absolutely putrid. It is terrible. But I mean, we've had so many crazy people on the show with terrible, terrible internet. But
well, hey, and then sometimes it works surprisingly well. I went. So as you guys are putting on your crawl, I'm hosting a show on the Tony Bruno Sports Network Monday through Friday from 1 to 3 Eastern. Although we're on a 2-week break right now because I'm flying to Florida tomorrow to do the U.S. Open Pickleball Championships for CBS. And we just decided, you know what, we all needed a break. We've been on the air since January, so we're doing like best ofs and whatever to fill time. But when I was in London, I was flying back, and we were on the air while I was in the air. And I didn't think it would work, but I actually logged on to our virtual studio from 39,000 feet. Wow. And it was on the show. I was only on though for about maybe 2.5 minutes until the flight attendants hadn't been around for like 3 hours. But as soon as I get into the studio, there's a flight attendant right there. And, sir, what are you doing? And they're like, you can't do broadcasting from a plane.
I would have probably snuck into the bathroom and sat on the toilet. I mean, we've our partner on the show now is Sean Smith, ex-NFL player. When we first interviewed him, he was hanging out in his shower. I mean, he had a chair in his shower. It's hilarious. I've never seen anything like it. I said, man, we got to get this guy on the show. He's out of his damn mind.
Then he spent the last 20 minutes on laying in his bed getting his food.
That was another thing. He was eating like a hamburger and he was laying on his bed. I'm like, Sean, you do realize we're interviewing you and you're eating a hamburger. And that's the funny thing. Every time he comes on a show, it's like it's an adventure. He's driving, his stomach is hanging. I tell Sean, I'm like, come on, Sean, we got to be a little bit more professional here. This isn't the Pat McAfee show. I mean,
if they start paying you like Pat McAfee's getting paid, then maybe you can do that kind of stuff.
Listen,
right?
I've been doing this a long time, Dave. We should be paid like Pat McAfee. We get great guests. We're crazy. We're analytically gifted in what we know. And we're not going to sit here and give you bull crap. We're going to give you our honest opinion. And we know all sports. It's not just football. We know all sports, and we go through it from UFC, boxing, golf. We go through it, and we go offset, and we talk about crazy things. I am a crazy person. I got a crazy family. And look, my co-host over here is Speedy. I mean, how many co-hosts have the personality and the quirkiness of Speedy Petey? I mean, seriously, look at this guy. I mean, in his he looks like, by the way, he looked like Jesus a couple of months ago. I mean, he had long hair. The beard was, I mean, he sincerely looked like Jesus Christ. I mean, seriously.
Well, I mean, it was the Easter season. So if there's ever a time for that,
Resurrection season.
Well, you definitely resurrected this show. That's for sure. Anyways, Dave, why don't we get into it? Because we all know that you're a baseball guy, you're a basketball guy, but basketball is what I want to get into. And the New York Knicks have had an unbelievable season. And with all the injuries that they've been fighting through, losing Julius Randle now for the rest of the season, I'm happy that he's not part of the playoff team because the guy is an absolute terrible playoff player. If you look at his numbers, you can see it. And Jalen Brunson has become a superstar in this league. The fact that he is not up for an MVP is ridiculous. Vegas don't even have him up as a top 5 player when he is. He's a top 4 scorer right now in the NBA. He's done everything for the New York Knicks. He's put the Knicks on his shoulder. And by the way, he's only one of 2 other Knicks. He's the third Knick to have 10 40-point games in one season. What are your thoughts to Jalen Brunson? Do you think he should be an MVP candidate?
Oh, man. Listen, at the end of the day, yes, the short answer is yes. But at the end of the day, do I think he would be a guy that I would vote for? I mean, the Knicks have had an amazing year, but I mean, dude, Joker is just so, like, I know everybody's tired of it, and you watch him and it doesn't pass the eye test a lot of the times. But God, all he does is like put up numbers and help his team win. Like, I just don't know how you don't vote for that guy. It's amazing. And I'll tell you what, my former team, another guy that I don't think has gotten enough love is Anthony Edwards, man. I mean, he put up 51 the other night. They're like, 13-5 since Cat went out. They've been at the top of the West all season. Nobody's talking about him as an MVP candidate. But yeah, I do agree. In fact, it surprises me given the fact that, Jalen is in New York, and that's obviously where it pays it pays nice dividends to be able to be playing in Manhattan, and that spotlight of Madison Square Garden and getting the epicenter of the world looking at you on a nightly basis. So I am surprised he's not getting more love for that, but I just think everybody is so just thinking that it's probably Jokers to win again, that not a lot of people are really thinking about the other candidates. Not that the other people aren't worthy, but Joker's just been that good.
Maybe we should just cry like Joel Embiid. Maybe I should just send some crying tears to the NBA and start crying. Send a Michael Jordan meme over there of him crying with a New York Knicks hat on. I mean, that would be funny. Maybe that would open people's eyes. I mean, this guy has been unbelievable. This team, he was a 2nd-round draft pick. This guy, analysts were telling us on this show, that the Knicks made a big mistake giving him the money. Now the Knicks are trying to make sure that they secure him and give him an extension in the offseason so they don't lose him. It's ridiculous. It's crazy.
He's not going anywhere. They're going to, listen, he's not going anywhere. There's no doubt. It is a shame, though, that Randall's done for the year, because I really think that team, man, I would love to see I think they'll make a run in the playoffs. I think they're going to win a playoff series probably for the first time in forever. I can't remember the last time they won a playoff.
They did last year, but then they lost the 2nd round of Miami.
Did they win last year? Cleveland? That's right. Yeah, I forgot about that series. Yeah, that was a good series too. Yeah, but I feel like, listen, they've got, I don't know that, I mean, Boston is head and shoulders above everybody, obviously, but is Boston unbeatable? I don't think so. And I think the Knicks could still catch the Bucks. I don't, that they'd need everything to fall right these last few games, but they could still catch the Bucks. I don't know though. I've talked to a couple of people about this since the plan has come in. I mean, there is, I think, a little bit of an advantage when it comes to the first round, not necessarily for the playoffs as a whole, because obviously you want to have home court as long as you can. But for that first round series, I mean, look what happened in Milwaukee last year. They had to wait to find out who they were going to play. I think Miami lost. Didn't Miami lose the first play-in game at home? Oh, they lost at Atlanta. Right, and then they had to play. Was it Toronto that they played in the 2nd round, or Chicago?
Chicago, I think. Yeah, they were down like 10 and like 5 minutes to go. They had to come back to win that.
Yeah, and they end up winning, and then Milwaukee, because they didn't know who they were prepping for, they end up catching the heat at the wrong time, and they're out. So I think that the Knicks are in a pretty good spot right now at 3. I mean, I know you'd love to have home court advantage a little deeper in the playoffs, but you sit there at 3, and that's right now. What's that looking like? The Pacers? I mean, I'd probably
with the Pacers and the Magic, I think, are in there.
Are you guys watching what the Knicks are doing to Boston right now at the Boston Garden? I mean,
no, I don't have it up. What are they doing?
81-58 in the Boston Garden. Third quarter right now. 6:43 left.
Are the Celtics sitting people?
Did Brunson get hurt? I hope he didn't get hurt, but. And an OG Anunoby has been unbelievable. The other day he played very well, and now he's playing great sensational basketball right now. And they're playing all their starters. They're playing all their starters.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Are they playing all the starters?
They're playing every single player, and the Knicks are destroying them in Boston, on the Boston Garden floor. So that says a lot about this team, man. This team, they're a good defensive team on the perimeter. I'm telling you, they can stop anybody. They can stop anybody on the perimeter. So I think if you have a healthy OG Anunoby, as long as Jalen, they got to be careful with Jalen Brunson. They do not want to go into the playoffs without Jalen Brunson. I mean, he's holding his arm right now. I hope he's okay. But OG Anunoby's healthy. You don't need Julius Randle. Julius Randle is the bricklayer. I've been saying this over and over again for the last 2 years. The guy averages 25 points a game in the regular season, and then all of a sudden he goes into the playoffs, he's averaging 13, 14 points a game.
Right, but in the past, he's kind of needed to be the guy, right? So I kind of wonder, it changes things. And that's what, I keep going back to the Timberwolves because obviously I know them so well, haven't been there for 10 years, but it's like, I think the reason they turned the corner this year is because Cat could be the number 2 now because Ant is the number 1. And, you wonder with Randall, you kind of don't have to be in that spotlight every night. Some guys don't necessarily want to carry that load. They say they want to because they want the money that comes with it, but do they really want that pressure? And when the playoffs come, you're right, Randall hasn't been a factor, but we're not going to find out this season at all. But I also love the fact that, shout out to Jay Wright, because, you got Brunson and Hart, who were unbelievable in Villanova, and now, reunited at MSG. That's a pretty nice combination.
How about Dante DiVincenzo being right now the all-time leading three-point shooter in one season for the New York Knicks, breaking John Starks' record.
Yeah, and I'm shocked that all the teams that have let him walk, right? Like, are you kidding me? I just don't get why Sacramento just let him go. It's the guy's been a baller.
The Warriors barely played him last year. Like, all the Warriors fans were complaining, like, why is this guy not getting more than, I think, 15 minutes a game sometimes? And Steve Kerr's had the criticism for managing some of the other young players too, and it's hurt their development. We were talking about it before you came on with Draymond Green, like how that whole culture, they tried to just stick up for him, and it's like shied so many young players away too. And it's DiVincenzo was one of them, and you're seeing it now with the Timberwolves. I'm going to transition to the Timberwolves too. Like, a lot of these other young players are now rallying around those veteran guys. It made them a much better team. So my question to you with the Timberwolves is, like, what do you think of them as a team camaraderie this year? You were talking about the Western Conference, like having a lot of these play-in teams that could be very good. And what are your expectations for them?
I think it's all about a matchup, right? They do not want to see, I don't think the Warriors are making a deep run, but are the Warriors capable of getting their shit together? I know we're streaming, right? So I can drop an
That's fine. There
you go. So the Warriors, are they capable of getting things together and beating a team? Could they beat OKC or could they beat Minnesota in the first round? I think if the Warriors come through the play-in and they get Denver, they get bounced in the first round. If the Warriors get OKC or Minnesota in the first round, look out. Same thing with the Lakers. If the Lakers get one of those two teams. So, I think that the Timberwolves, it's going to be all about the matchups, man. They don't want to see one of these veteran teams with experience because they still don't know what it's like. Despite how good they are, it's so different winning in the regular season versus, as you said with Randall, it's a different animal. Winning in the regular season is great and it matters. But if you can't back it up by having success in the postseason, then at the end of the day, you got nothing. And Anthony Edwards, as good as he is, he's never tasted winning in the postseason. Karl Anthony Towns has won exactly 2 playoff games in his career. Like, they're not necessarily battle tested when it comes to being able to know what it takes to win a series. So they need to not match up against one of those veteran teams, whether it be the Lakers or the Warriors. If Sacramento could somehow get through the play-in, and the Timberwolves are fortunate enough to play the Kings, that's a great matchup for them. But I tell you what, man, the other team that scares me is Phoenix. Like, I keep waiting for Phoenix for everything to click with them. And that's a team that if they can flick the switch in the postseason, they could be a real tough out for somebody. So I hope I'm wrong because I still have a lot of friends with the Timberwolves, and I'd love to see them be able to experience some success. But man, I don't really think the Timberwolves I wouldn't be shocked if they lose in the first round. If they get through the first round, then I think look out, because then now they know what it's like to win a series, and they've got the talent to be able to win, and Cat's coming back. But I depending on the matchup, man, I wouldn't be shocked if they get bounced in the first round.
I'm laughing right now because Brunson, Dante DiVincenzo is putting on a clinic defending against the Boston Celtics. A clinic. He's getting under him. He's getting under Porzingis. He's pissing Porzingis off. He's forcing shots up. And he threw a ball to Brunson. He was wide open. He shoots a three. He scores. He hits the three. And he blows a kiss to all the Boston fans and smiles. And he runs back. It's pretty funny, actually. It's not, to me, it's finally you have a team like you want to see the Knicks be a good team, because when Boston's a good team and the Knicks are a good team, it's great back and forth banter. Not even, as an NBA, analyst or, you're an NBA radio show, you're sitting here and you're watching great basketball. And that's what I love to see. By the way, we are speaking to Emmy-Award winning sports broadcaster Dave Benz. We love him, and he's doing such a great job in pickleball. I mean, who would have thought? And by the way, the pickleball is going to be a part of the Olympics this year. This is going to be good. Isn't it this year?
You're breaking news that I wish was real.
Is it true?
No, it's not. It's not.
Isn't it becoming an Olympic sport?
No, believe me, they want it to be. They want it to be in a bad
Maybe
way.
it was another sport.
Yeah.
Esports? Is it esports?
I know handball's always been in it. I think there is another racket sport that's been added, but it's not pickleball.
Esports is going to be added in another 4 years, right?
In 2 years in Tokyo, I believe.
Yeah.
Summer.
Yes. So
Or 28, 4 years.
Well,
4 years.
28's in LA, and next 24 is in Paris. They did Tokyo in 20.
Yeah.
You guys are on a time machine, man. You're like looping me everywhere.
We're trying to help you, man.
DeLorean.
We're trying to help you. Maybe in 4 years we'll be we'll be part of your broadcast. I mean,
that would be awesome.
Speedy will be a play-by-play. I'll be on the courts, screaming at everybody, tell them to kiss my ass, starting fights with everybody.
Yeah, until you get thrown out of the stadium in 5 minutes.
I'm the radio king when it comes to people hating me. I'm the heel.
Have you guys played pickleball? That's the bigger question.
I tried it a while ago. I'm not very good at racket.
He's not an athlete.
Tennis.
He's not. I was actually a pretty good tennis player, and I love playing ping pong. I am a great.
Well, then you'd be a natural, man. I mean, it's fun.
So I want to tell you a story. So we had Kurt Warner's son on the show. Yep. Okay, and he was telling us that Kurt, he is the king of pickleball. Like they have a pickleball court in their backyard in Arizona. So I told him, I said, you fly us out there and I'll get ready and we'll play. Me and you will face Speedy and your father, and we'll put some money on it, and we'll torch your father. He looked at me and he says, I think all three of us on the court couldn't beat my father. I said, get out of here. This guy's an old man. He can't. He's like, trust me, he's a pretty good player. So I'm very intrigued.
Listen, that's why pickleball has blown up, man, is because it really is the great equalizer. Like athleticism is definitely a check mark in the plus column. Don't get me wrong, but like really, if you've got good hands and you've got good footwork and you're disciplined and you know the game and you hit the angles, like because there's not a huge amount of court to cover, it's a great equalizer. Like you could get a really skilled, like a high level, like 68-year-old will wipe the court with an inexperienced 26-year-old. I'm telling you, man, it's like it's a great equalizer. That's part of the reason I think why it's grown so quickly.
All right. So going back to the NBA, a team that I was very surprised this year with, and I'm not a big fan of theirs, and that's the Milwaukee Bucks. No longer have their championship coach there anymore. They decided to part ways. They bring in Doc Rivers. Yes, you heard it from me. Doc Rivers. And what has he ever won? Yes, he won a championship, but guess who was his defensive guy who was calling all the defensive plays? He's coaching the New York Knicks, Tom Thibodeau. So Doc has never done it in his own way or by himself, and I'm not a big Doc fan. That's just me. Maybe you are. But Milwaukee, they bring him in. They had a winning record. Their coach was, killing it. And for some reason, you bring in Damian Lillard. Maybe Damian didn't like him. Maybe, Giannis didn't like him. I don't know, but they have no bench. This bench is not good. And if you're going into the playoffs with a bench like this, remember, they traded away a lot of pieces to land Damian Lillard. What are your thoughts to Milwaukee? Do you think they're a better team without Drew Holiday and some of the players that they lost in making that trade for Damian Lillard?
I don't know that they're a better team without Drew Holiday. And I'm a big Damian Lillard fan, man. But, listen, Drew is obviously, a couple of years younger. And, Dame. But I mean, they brought Dame in because they feel like they could win this year, right? And if you've got a chance to win, you need to go for it. And so they're a dangerous team. If Giannis has this calf injury, he's going to be out the rest of the regular season. But if he comes back right for the playoffs, and I understand the bench can be an issue, but we all know in the playoffs the bench gets shortened anyway. So they're probably going to play 7 guys anyway in a game that matters when they, so. As long as Giannis stays on the court and doesn't get in foul trouble and he comes back healthy, and we know that Dame is going to pick it up and find another level when they hit the playoffs. And, personally, I didn't always love all of Doc's coaching decisions, but I've had great conversations with him over the years. Mm-hmm. And, Doc to me has been just a great guy. When I was talking to Doc one time on an issue and he's like, yeah, give me a call anytime. Gave me his number. Like, all right, cool. So guys like that are, just good, real guys. I'm always going to root for. Okay. I do think what they did, how they did, the guy that I even already forgot his name, the guy that started. What was it?
Adrian Griffin was the one that brought
Adrian Griffin. Yeah. Well, how they did Adrian Griffin was wrong. I did like that Doc gave him the All-Star game bonus check, which was kind of a nice gesture, although, Doc doesn't really need the money. But Adrian Griffin, from what I had heard, he was behind the scenes, things weren't so good. There were a lot of disagreements. Guys didn't like the schemes. Guys didn't like the way that he was running practices. And, to the Bucks organization, I have to say, you know what? A lot of organizations aren't going to do that, right? They're not going to say we made a mistake. They're going to say, all right, let's see this out. Let's see this out. Maybe it'll correct itself. We don't want the bad PR. I got to give the Bucks organization credit, man. They said, you know what? No, we brought Damon here to win. We feel like we can win a championship this year. Well, we can't waste the year just because we feel like we want to save face. We don't think this guy's the right guy. He's not resonating with the players. We don't like the way he's running practices. Let's get him out. And, a lot of teams wouldn't have done that. So it's not a good look, but at the same time, I have great respect for an organization that will do that.
So I know you're also a big baseball guy. A big story the last 3 weeks has been this whole Shohei Ohtani scandal with the interpreter. What are your thoughts to all that that's been going on?
Well, I mean, obviously we talked about it a ton on my show, and I always felt like I definitely, if I go back and listen to some of the tapes, I'm sure we were ready to be out with the pitchforks on Shohei. But at the same time, I think, I was probably between me and my 2 co-hosts, I was probably the one that was the most like, hey, he's not proved guilty of anything yet. There is still a possibility, although it didn't look good, but, there is still a possibility he actually could be a victim in all this. And now it's looking like that's actually what happened. I think the biggest thing with Shohei is, and it's not only because it was his interpreter, but I mean, obviously that adds to it. There's this layer, right? There's this layer of, distance that is between him and the U.S. media and him and the U.S. fans because of the language barrier. And we all know he's been in the United States for 6 years. The guy understands English enough to be able to have a conversation in the dugout. He understands English enough to be able to talk to, Dave Roberts and be able to get things done that he needs to get done in his everyday life. He probably speaks English enough to be able to, order takeout if he wants a pizza delivered. But he doesn't want to do it publicly because he's obviously self-conscious about looking bad. But I think that, this should be motivation that you got to ditch that crutch, man. Plus how many marketing opportunities are you missing out on if you're Shohei Ohtani? I know he's making millions back in Japan, but how many marketing opportunities could you have here in the US if you actually could speak fluent English comfortably on camera. And I think a bigger thing with this is, well, you know, I said on my show, like, hey, if you or I went and got, if any one of the three of us went and got a job and got hired by, I don't know, say we got hired by Uber in their corporate offices, right? But they created a position for us and we got to go to Spain because they're launching some office in Spain. They give us this amazing deal, right? Of course, when we go there on day one, they hired us knowing we're not fluent in Spanish and they're going to help us out. But if we're there on our second job anniversary and we can't speak Spanish yet, we're probably going to lose our job. So I feel like these, you know, all these players, and it's not just Shohei, the Latin players that come here and, you know, on any sport, like it should be mandated in their player contracts that they need to learn English to a point of proficiency that they can talk to the media, you know, without an interpreter by like the end of their second season. And if they do it earlier, then they get a bonus. And if they do it later, they get fined. You know, because I just feel like that's kind of added a layer to all this. And I know I went kind of off on a tangent on that.
It's fine.
You know, but you know, as far as the whole gambling thing, I mean, I was hearing today, like the numbers are mind blowing, right? Like this guy made like 19,000 bets and the average bet was 13 grand. Like it's just blows.
Dave, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I'm going to tell you this. And I had my own thoughts to it. It was my first, you know, monologue for the segment of the Ohtani situation. I know it came out that he has no part of it. Come on. You're going to tell me that Shohei Ohtani didn't know that $16 million was missing out of his account. That's a lie. I don't believe it. I think baseball is brushing it under the rug. This guy is the biggest superstar in baseball right now. They're protecting their player, their asset. That's
I don't disagree with that take at all, but I will present to you the counter argument. And the counter argument is this, okay? For you or I, if 100, you know, like I can't even fathom what it's like to have, you know, hundreds of millions of dollars in the bank, right? But let's just say, so let's divide the number by 10. Let's just say it's 160,000 or 1.6 million. Let's divide it by 100. Say it's 160,000 is missing from my account. I'm going to notice that, right? But I also am not running an enterprise, Dave Benz Inc. You know, Shohei probably has everything as a corporation. I doubt this was like his personal Bank of America checking account that the money was missing from. It was probably in some account within his corporate structure.
But he has accountants, Dave. I mean, how does your accountants not spot that? Come on, Dave. You can't be stupid enough to believe this. And you know baseball. We've seen baseball do this. They absolutely paid off the DOJ. I'm telling you right now, they handed millions and millions of dollars to them and said, here, just keep it under the rug. Don't.
Listen, it is. All I'll say is this. It is awfully convenient for this report to come out and clear Ohtani. That's really good for baseball.
Yep.
And so I can understand where you're coming from. And I probably at the end of the day side with you that they are finding a way to sweep it under the rug. And there's got to be more to it than we know about. But
100%.
All I'm saying is I'm just presenting to you the counter argument of how it could possibly be something that could happen.
And I agree with you. I mean, a lot of things that you're saying, it's true. Baseball's trying to sweep it under the rug. They want to get this offset. So baseball said, here's $100 million. Leave us alone. You know, this is our biggest player right now. He's in LA. He has a chance to make us billions and billions of dollars with all these, you know, Japanese, Asian fans out there in that vicinity. There's no way they want this guy to be lost for the season if this story came out and said that it is true. And it's hard to believe. It's hard to believe. I know one of our guys, one of our guests or one of our fans came out and said, well, Tim Duncan didn't know that $20 million was missing. Shohei Ohtani's been in the league for 4 years. This is his 5th year. All right. This has been going on for 3 years. Shohei Ohtani didn't have the hundreds of millions of dollars 3 years ago. So this has been going on for 3 years. You're going to tell me for 3 years Shohei Ohtani didn't know anything about this? It's ridiculous. You would have to be dumb to think that he knew nothing about this.
We also don't know the numbers, right? Like, I mean, in terms of, when it started 3 years ago, Shohei, first of all, was probably still making 7 figures, maybe 8 in endorsement deals alone. Out of Japan.
But he wasn't making what he's making now.
And if his guy at that point was siphoning out $100,000 here, $100,000 there, and then it escalated as Shohei's income turned up. I would love to be able to see a full accounting of the numbers, because until anybody sees that, it's going to be hard to swallow. There's no doubt. And everybody, including myself, is going to think exactly what you think, that they're sweeping it under the rug, because that is the most likely and most convenient thing to believe. But I'm just saying, like, I always do try to think about, what would be the things that I would cling to if I was trying to make the counter argument. If I was an attorney in court and I had to argue the side of, no, he absolutely didn't know, what things would I cling to? And, like I said, I would probably think I would look at, hey, he's a corporation. He's not a guy with this in his Bank of America account.
Yeah. It's crazy. It really is. It's
a good problem to have, though. I'd say I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind having $16.5 million disappear on me because I had so much money I didn't realize it was gone.
You know what? I don't know anything about Japanese, but I'll use like that technology phone, the interpreted phone, asset app, and then I'll be his interpreter. I'll just like, okay, Ohtani, speak into my wonderful phone over here and I'll take $10,000 every 2 weeks. I'll be happy with that. All right. You don't have to give me $500,000. You don't have to give me $600,000 in a season. I'll do that for you. But as everybody knows, we are talking to Emmy-Award winning sports broadcaster, our friend Dave Benz. He's been on the show before, and it's crazy. How about the Yankees? A lot of people were questioning if this team was going to be good this year. Garrett Cole going out the way he did. He's going to be out, a significant amount of time. Some people thought he might need surgery. He doesn't. His arm was dead in spring training, and Carlos Rodon, what a terrible signing. He stinks. He has a bad season because his shoulder was hurt. He comes back this year, and he's one of the best pitchers right now in baseball. He's 1-0. He's got a 1.72 ERA, which is one of the best right now in the league, and his whip is almost under 1. What are your thoughts to the Yankees? Juan Soto, they're not even hitting on all pistons. I mean, Judge is still not hitting. I mean, when this lineup starts to actually hit together, they're even more dangerous. Do you believe, like I believe, that this team is one of the best, if not the best team right now in all of baseball?
Well, I mean, listen, getting off to a hot start is one thing. It's sustainable is another. Right now, sure, they're absolutely on fire. And, but is Juan Soto going to keep batting 360 all season? That would sure be nice. If you could, that would not be too shabby. And, a nice addition by him. Look, the Yankees, I feel like, are overdue to be able to have a sustained run. But at the end of the day, man, that going back to Ohtani, that Dodger team is just I'm a Giants fan, so it's hard for me to watch the Dodgers, but I literally have watched more Dodger games this year than I've watched Giants games, because I turn on the TV and I see they're playing and I'm like, I want to watch this lineup. Their lineup is sick. It's like you got to go through the heart of that order. You got to go to Betts, to Ohtani, to Freeman, and then the Braves. I don't know if the Yankees are on the Dodgers and Braves level, but I think the Yankees, they're better than everybody thought they were going to be. That is going to be a war coming out of the AL East. I just think that the Orioles are going to prove to be another. I think they've got everything to be a
sophomore year. I don't think they're as good as you think they are. I don't.
I want to see how Holiday is going to do now that he's been called up. I want to see if he's as good as they are.
We've had his coach on the show, his junior coach on the show, and he says he swears upon him. And listen, we all know who his father is. Matt Holliday was a great baseball player, and they're saying that he's much better than his father. We've heard about Andrew Jones's son, how special he's going to be, and we know how Andrew Jones was in the majors, even when he was doing steroids. So I had to hit that, but
especially when he was doing steroids.
Yeah, well, I think we've had a lot of ex-baseball players on this show, and I'll agree with it. Steroids should be allowed in baseball. That's just me. But to go back to it, I think Holiday is going to be good, but I think it's going to take him a little while to figure it out. The speed of the game. Now there are guys like Mike Trout that just are naturals, but just because of who you are and what people say you are doesn't mean that it's just going to be all peaches and cream. And you're playing in the American League East, the hardest division in baseball. And the Yankees aren't just going to give you freebies. The Rays are definitely not giving you freebies. And even the Red Sox are playing good baseball in the Blue Jays. This is a great division. This is a division last year that every single one of those teams were over 500. That says
and that could happen again.
Yes. Yes, it could.
It could happen again.
Yes.
Yeah, listen, what are we, 2 weeks in? 13
Yes.
Yankees have played 13 games.
Yep.
I mean, let's see where we're at a month from now. But I do like how they've gotten out of the gates. There's no question. And but I think at the end of the day, if I was gonna pick somebody to come out of the American League, I mean, I think the American League is more open than the National League. I think the National League is going to come back down to the Braves and the Dodgers. I think they're on a collision course. And for the American League, whoever survives that AL East is probably going to be the team that comes out of there. Although personally, sentimentally, I'm pulling for Bochy to be able to win 2 in a row because I covered him when he was here in the Bay Area, and he never got 2 in a row, man. As good as he was, he never got 2 in a row. And I would just love to see Boch get 2 in a row. He's one of the all-time greats. He's just a great dude, and loved to get a chance to cover him. And I'll always root for him no matter where he's coaching.
Just so you know, I was one of very few people that picked Texas way before the playoffs even started to win the World Series. Just so you know. I picked Purdue to go all the way to the national championship. I was almost right about that Purdue was going to win the national championship. I'm actually pretty good at making picks.
Well, you should have been hooking up with Shohei Ohtani's interpreter, man. You guys would have made some bank.
I don't bet. I don't bet on sports.
Yeah, but he could have handled it. He could have handled the money. He obviously did. If you advised him, he would have up 140 million instead of down 140 million, and you guys would have been, you wouldn't be needing to do the show anymore.
As long as it's not my own money and they're making the bets and they ask me, hey, Errol, who do you got in this game? What do you have them at? I'll give you my pick, but I'm not betting on it because when I do that, I lose. So I stick to that, process. I have a lot of friends that reach out to me, Dave, and they always call you, Errol, before your show, tell me who you got tonight. Who you have in this game? I give them my picks, and they come out and they tell me that they're coming out winners. They smell the roses. I say, listen, if you make a couple $100, you throw me a couple of bucks, I'll be happy with it. So I don't need to be rich on that. But anyways, but before we let you go, man, and you're fantastic. You're doing such great work, and you always do, and that's why you're an Emmy-Award winning broadcaster. You're fantastic. You look at right now, and we were speaking about it a little while ago, and Tony Clark said something very interesting. He blames, and I want to know your opinion, he blames the pitch clock on the reason why pitchers are having arm and shoulder problems. Do you believe that? Because I think it's just a crock of you-know-what.
Yeah, no, I don't believe it one bit. No. And the pitch clock has been a godsend for baseball. And I think it's just one of those things. It's cyclical, man. I mean, you can't predict it. Injuries happen when they happen. And there's going to be times when, there's going to be seasons and teams that are blessed with good fortune. There's going to be times that they're not. And there's going to be some players that are going to be blessed through their career with good fortune and other players that are just going to have one injury after another. And it's the luck of the draw. So you want to sit there and, Tony Clark can come over and predict for me where the next weed is going to pop up in my garden, man. I mean, it's like that's about as scientific as it is. Just you're guessing.
Just make sure you could smoke it, okay?
Yeah, exactly. Well, in California you can, so I'm in the right spot.
You're in New York, you can.
Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah, I forget. New York is on board now too. That's great. I'm going to Florida tomorrow, and they're not on board. So, they are on the medical front, but they got to catch up. But yeah, it's I don't the pitch clock, man. I hadn't heard that. I just think that's ridiculous. Guys. It's not changing the amount of pitches that they're making in a game or the velocity that they're putting on the pitches. A lot of it, I'll tell you what, a lot of it could be analytics, because a lot of these pitchers now are being told, hey, your arm slot needs to be here. And, and it's like, it goes against the natural throwing motion that they had their whole lives. Guys have to tweak things. So, I don't know what you put it on, but the pitch clock is the last thing I'd be assessing that too.
Yeah, I also look at like the fact that these guys are throwing so many innings too. Like a lot of these younger guys that are throwing all these innings right away, and that's why they want to shorten the games too. Like they want to shorten the season, they want to shorten the games. Like make up your mind on which one to do it with, but also don't try to rush them all the time. I always thought, I don't know if you like this idea, Dave, like not having the pitch clock be so fast, maybe like a 25-30 second one. You think could be good?
I mean, I'm open to tweaking things until I would see what that would look like. I wouldn't really, but I mean, the thing with the pitch clock is, and it changes between every, pitcher hitter combination, right? But a large percentage of the time that I'm watching, guys are throwing pitches with still 3-4 seconds left on the pitch clock. It's not like it's getting right down to the wire. So if you add some more time, I don't know. Does that mean guys are going to take that extra 5 seconds to rest, or are they just going to start throwing it with 8 seconds left on the clock? I mean, I think once guys get attuned to it, they're going to adjust. So we're only, what is this? This year 2 with the pitch clock?
Yeah.
We're going to, guys that grow up with it being a regular rule, it's not going to be a factor to them. Just like hockey players when they first put in helmets, right? Hockey players hated wearing helmets because it wasn't comfortable to them. But now there's no guy playing. I would guess. I mean, I haven't asked any, but I would guess that if I went and took a survey of NHL players right now, what do you think about having to wear a helmet? They'd look at you crazy. Like, of course we're wearing a freaking helmet.
I'm watching the college right now, the Frozen Four, and it's pretty funny. And one guy just gets shoulder to shoulder, elbow, and he flies into the boards. He looks like he gets knocked out. It's a legal head, and this guy, his head, he went head first into the boards. And I see it's funny that you said that, because he gets up, he looks like he's in a daze. Could you imagine if he wasn't wearing a helmet?
That's what I'm saying, man. Hey, I'm going to pull back the curtain real quick, because I just want to know who does all your graphics and stuff. Are you guys using OBS? Because your pre-production on this is off the charts, having all the graphics and all that stuff. That shout out to whoever's doing that for you.
Oh, you like the graphics right here? Is that?
I like the graphics. I like how you guys, you put.
Oh, it's our. Well, let's bring him in. Bring him in. Let's bring him in. This is our executive producer of our show. His name is Mr. Aaron Fishman, and he is fantastic. There he is.
Well, Fisher, are you guys using OBS, or what are you using for your studio? Okay, so StreamYard. But you're not putting OBS into StreamYard. It's all on StreamYard.
Yep.
All right. Well, I might have to look into StreamYard for our stuff. We're using a different platform, and we're using OBS. But your stuff is tight. It's dialed in. So, Fish, you're crushing.
Thank you. Thank you, man. I'm just, I'm actually, a school teacher, and I'm really just using the stuff I make for the kids and just having more fun with it than I could have in school,
Oh, I like
the I think that's him trying to say he's pawning it off on the kids. Hey, kids, how would you like to do a little project today?
Are you kidding? They complain just to copy down something from a video I show them. Like, it's the easiest thing. Get out of here. They can't be bothered. They got to listen to their music the whole time anyway.
Dave, he's been the newest addition to our show. He's been a very big addition to what we do here. And that's why I don't care what anybody says. You could put us against any show right now in the United States. We'll not only with what we put out there when it comes to all the different stuff that we do, the analytics and everything like that, and just comedy and personalities, we are the best. And I don't care what anybody says. I'll put myself and I'll put this show against anybody. And we can compete against anybody right now on any network. And that's the truth. It's not being cocky or egotistical. It's how I feel. So
we've had two big additions: Fish for his actual impact, and Sean because he's big.
Well, Sean, that's an impact by itself. I mean, seriously, that's a crash impact.
You guys are crushing it, man. It's dialed in. The show's smooth, and you guys got great takes, and I love it. So
thank you.
Happy to be on your list of invitees.
Well, we love you, Dave. And any day you want to come on the show, and any day you want us to come on your show, you will have us. And
Done. I'll take you up on that after I get back from my hiatus with doing pickleball next week.
All right, Speedy, you better not be playing pickleball, and I'm not talking about the pickleball with the rackets. Okay, all right,
rackets.
the rackets. Yeah, I didn't say
Paddles.
rackets.
They're paddles in pickleball. They're paddles.
Well, you know what? I could use a paddle. My grandmother used to hit me with a paddle every time I did something bad. So she had a paddle for all my cousins and a paddle for me. Okay, and that's not a lie, by the way. So, but we love you as always. Keep up the good work. Emmy Award winning sports broadcaster. You're fantastic. And everything that you do it just flows. So keep up the good work. And anytime you want us to come on, we'd love to shoot the crap with your guys on your show.
All right, it'd be awesome. Yeah, I'll definitely hit you guys up here in the next couple of weeks.
Oh, awesome.
Thanks, Dave.
Dave,
All right, fellas. You guys have a great rest of the night. Thanks for having me on.
You too, my friend. Dave Benz, ladies and gentlemen. Fantastic. He always is. Yes. Great personality. Look at you. Look at that smile on your face. Everybody complimenting you. My guy, Matt, from WFN told me, man, the graphics look great. I was like, I'm giving you all the credit, my friend. But you're doing great stuff, and that's great. And I love that, that all the work and hard work and dedication that you do and you put into it, you're going to get back, and people see it and they're going to give you compliments. And that's what I try. I'm trying to teach you guys. I'm trying to teach Scoops that you go out there, you do the best that you possibly can. Stop thinking, just do. And people are going to recognize you. And that's it. And I would never take the credit for anybody's work. Speedy, especially the production that you do, everything that you do with your shorts and YouTube, everything, all the work that you guys put into it. Even I don't need any credit for what I do. I don't, because I know I put my heart and my dedication into everything that I do. I want to be the best. And we have something, and I know we have something. And when the networks see what we have, they're going to kiss this rear end. I'm going to pull out one of my cheeks, Speedy, and you can pull out the other one.
No, I'm not pulling out your cheeks.
No, you don't have to. I'm talking about pulling your cheeks out.
I'm not pulling out any cheeks.
Why not? You don't like cheeks?
I don't care about doing that.
I like cheeks.
Good for you.
I mean, you don't like looking at cheeks? I mean, I obviously.
Really?
I know you prefer a woman's cheek, right?
Whatever. I don't care.
Or a man.
They're just body parts.
It's just body parts. You're going to tell me you don't like a butt?
It's fine.
It's fine. You hear that? It's fine, Fish. It's fine. No, it's fine. Who cares? It's a butt.
Fine.
I might as well stick my ass out to everybody. It's a butt. Look at that. Got some hair on the right one. Anyways, stay on, Fish. We're going to go through some of these, and then we're going to do our picks. Let's get into there was a couple of stories we didn't get in. Let's go into the Brunson conversation. Newsday's Steve Popper reports that Jalen Brunson would be open to a contract extension at the end of the season with the Knicks. Brunson has 2 more years on his current contract, making $26 million per year, and has a player option for 1 more year worth about $24.9 million. So, and we will get into it. And Fish, just mute your thing because it's making a couple of sounds. Brunson is averaging 27.8 points per game this season, 4th most in the NBA right now, averaging a career high of 6.6 assists per game as well. Brunson said he was mad at the Mavericks in 2022 for rejecting a 4-year, $55 million contract at the time. Brunson would be eligible to an increase his value on a max or supermax contract after the 2025 season. So it would benefit the Knicks to sign a new extension this offseason. Brunson made his first All-Star game this season and has led the Knicks to a 47-32 record, 3rd in the Eastern Conference. Everybody knows what I think about this kid. And I say kid because he's 26 years old. He's not even in the prime of his career yet. Usually in the NBA, your prime starts when you're 28 to 32. Jalen Brunson is right now, in my opinion, the best point guard in the NBA. There is nobody better than Jalen Brunson is right now. Nobody. And I'm going to say what every Knick fan would say because they're Knick fans. But I'm not going to say it because I'm a homer. Jalen Brunson should be an MVP candidate. There's no question that he should be. This team was a shell of itself before they added this guy to the roster. Leon Rose has really been an absolute genius. Him and Worldwide Wes has really rebuilt this team with youth, talent, and camaraderie. That trade with OG Anunoby, when he first made that move, I was questioning it. I didn't, the same thing with Dante DiVincenzo. I didn't know Dante that much. I watched him play when he was in Milwaukee, and then even in Golden State. I remember a couple of shots that he made, but I mean, I think he won a championship with Golden State.
With Milwaukee.
Oh, with Milwaukee. But I remember bits and pieces of Dante, but I wasn't sure how much of a player he was going to be here in New York. And everything that Leon Rose has touched, every single move that he has done has worked. Every single one of them. The only one that didn't work, he's no longer a part of this team. And Julius Randle, yeah, it's a loss. Not having him on this roster for the playoffs, yeah, it's a loss. But Jalen Brunson is a real superstar in this league right now. And if OG Anunoby is 100% healthy and Dante DiVincenzo is 100% healthy, with the perimeter defense that the Knicks have and the talent that they have coming off the bench, they can compete against anybody. They're doing it against Boston right now in the Boston Garden. They're not just doing it, they're kicking the living daylights out of them. And Jalen Brunson deserves more of the credit than anybody, because Jalen Brunson is not going on the Jimmy Fallon show. He's not going on all these other shows and throwing people under the bus saying, you should have kept me. You should have done this. You should have done that. Mark Cuban, you should have kept me when all I wanted was a 4-year, $55 million extension. It was nothing to do with that. He went out there. He put a smile on his face. He laughed. He giggled. And he just, he kept it professional. And that's what I like about Jalen Brunson. He is never going to throw anybody under the bus. Even in his podcast with Josh Hart, he never throws anybody under the bus. He's got a smile on his face. He jokes. He kids. As a matter of fact, he has more of a personality than I ever thought he did. It's unbelievable. It says a lot about who he is, the way he was raised, and just who and what he wants to be and what he wants to do here in New York. He is doing it in a world-class place in Madison Square Garden, one of the hardest places to play. And even Carmelo Anthony, Bernard King, Patrick Ewing, they all couldn't get it done and win a championship. If Jalen Brunson brings a championship home to New York and the New York Knicks after over close to 40 years, not only would they build a trophy or a trophy of him inside the stadium, they'll build a statue outside the stadium that birds can take dumps on for the next 100 years. Jalen Brunson deserves more credit than anybody does, and he stands for something. He stands for New York. He stands for what New York needs to be moving forward for basketball and what we call the Mecca of basketball.
Yep, and it's perfect for both sides, too, because Jalen Brunson gets a nice upgrade on that contract, which obviously a lot of people didn't like at the time, but is thought of now as a bargain, the 4 years, $104 million contract. So he gets a nice boost. And then the Knicks also potentially save themselves from having to give him potential supermax money down the road, where if Jalen Brunson scores at the clip that he has this year, you're talking about a fourth highest scorer in the NBA. If he gets to that even more, he's going to be eligible for some of the $300 million type contracts. So the Knicks could pay him now, get him before that, and then not have to go with that down the road. And all this is possible because of the potential with OG Anunoby taking a pay cut, where they might not have to give him a max contract, or if they do, it'll be the minimum amount of a max contract. They can bring some other players in. Yeah, the decision on Julius Randle still might be more better off to let him go at this point, but nevertheless, they have so much flexibility what the Knicks could do because they have the depth and they have stars that are committed to the team. And that's something you never saw with the Knicks in the past too. As good as Carmelo Anthony was, as good as Amari Stoudemire, Tyson Chandler were at certain points during their careers with the Knicks, like you never saw that kind of thing where they were like all these great team players, team camaraderie. This is a team camaraderie that the Knicks have finally built. Not a bunch of egos of old guys, a lot of good mixture of everything.
Oh, I love it. I absolutely love what's going on. And Keith, I know it's over 51 years. I'm 41, and they haven't won since the 70s. 73, I think, was the last time they won a championship. So, yeah, I know it was, I said over 40 years. So, again, and I've been around for 41 years and I haven't seen a championship. The best chance the Knicks had a chance to win was in 94 when they were up 3-2 against the Rockets and then choked. Charles Smith's layup, Patrick Ewing, John Starks hitting the brick after brick after brick. In game 7, I think he shot like almost 18 3-pointers and missed practically all of them. I remember it. I was there. I remember it. So I'm not going to sit here and make excuses. This organization has been as bad as any NBA team, and they sell out almost every single game because the Knicks fans are dedicated. Finally, the Knicks have something to watch. Madison Square Garden is louder than it's ever been. And if the Knicks have a winner, no team in New York is bigger than the Knicks if they're winning. I'm telling you right now, not the Rangers, not the Jets, not the Giants, not the Yankees, not the Brooklyn Nets, or whatever the hell you call them.
I don't even know if they have
not the Buffalo Bills, the Buffalo Sabres, any New York team. The Devils Metropolitan over here. Nobody. If the Knicks are a winner, it is bigger than any sport. It's bigger than any team here. And the Knicks have a chance to do something special. It might not be this year, but I'm going to tell you this right now. This team is built so well. They got money. They got draft stock. They got everything. And Leon Rose is smelling like a bunch of roses. Everything he's touched. Everybody was attacking Leon Rose. I'm sorry. Everybody was attacking James Dolan for hiring Leon Rose. Everybody, what's this agent taking over this job? We had Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson sucked. All he did was sleep, okay? He was a giant snot, all right? That's what he was. He took $16 million from James Dolan. I think James Dolan is still paying that idiot off, okay? It has been an absolute joke. Coach after coach, hiring Jeff Hornacek, hiring Isaiah Thomas. Are you kidding me? It's been a joke for this team. Finally, they have it right. They have a basketball mind, a guy that put the right people around him. And look at what this team is doing right now. This is not a joke anymore. The Knicks aren't a joke anymore. They're a top 6 team in the NBA right now. They are. You say whatever you want. How many teams could you put in front of the Knicks right now? Maybe 5. Maybe 5. And that's crazy. I would probably say the Knicks could be a top 4 team right now in the NBA because they just kicked the you-know-what out of the Celtics in Boston. And Boston
over.
All their starters.
It's over. They just won. Boston almost made a run in the fourth quarter, but they were down way too much.
Because the Knicks weren't. The last 3 minutes of the game, they were letting them come back.
But you know what? I mean, you look at the numbers just from the game. I got the stats up. Brunson went 15 of 23, and he had 6 of 11 from 3, plus 28, 39 points, 4 assists, 2 turnovers. The dude is just – I never thought we'd get a guy like this. That's what it is as a Knicks fan. All the horrible free agents that we got over the years, the terrible draft picks, the horrible trades, giving up the draft picks. And, with the Knicks now, you luck into this guy who has family roots that played for the Knicks. Rick Brunson had a cup of coffee with the team.
Father's
Was he
coach.
on the team that went to the finals against in the strike season? Was he on that team?
I'm not sure if he was on the team. I know his father played for the Knicks. I know he's worked for the Knicks organization. And everybody knew when Jalen Brunson was not going to get that 4-year, $55 million extension when Mark Cuban, where he was going. Everybody knew where he was going and where he was heading. As a matter of fact, the Knicks got in a lot of trouble because they reached out and they were speaking to Jalen Brunson before the season was over. And they did get in trouble for that. I think they were fined for that. So, now, obviously, and listen, you could go back and forth on what Leon Rose has done. And we all know right now, Keith, you're saying Leon Rose is awesome. When he was brought here, nobody was happy with Leon Rose. Nobody. I don't want to hear you were because you weren't. Nobody was happy when the Knicks brought in Leon Rose. Nobody. Because he's an agent and agents fail. Ask the Mets. Ask a lot of teams that brought in agents that want to be, NBA guys. I mean, the Lakers did, but the Lakers the Lakers always get these big names to come over there. The Lakers bring in, Kobe Bryant's agent, and he gets LeBron James to come over there, and then Anthony Davis trade, and everything worked out for them. And look at what they are right now. That agent, whatever his name is, the GM of the Lakers right now is putrid. He's probably going to get fired at the end of the year. So nobody expected Leon Rose to build this team the way he has. It says a lot about who he's put around him, the analytics that he's put around him, and everything practically he's touched has turned to gold. Actually, he's turned to platinum. It's worked. I'm sorry to cut you off, Fish.
No, it's all right. I know he's not an MVP candidate necessarily, but if you think about the term MVP, is there anyone more valuable to their team than this guy? Without him, the team isn't really anything. It's just Tibbs, grinding guys into the ground and having them hustle. You gotta. I just love the family effect, with Rick Brunson connection, but more so, it's this Villanova connection that, it just seems like he's here. It's his boys. He's the clear, charismatic leader of the group. He does his, nobody knows what he's doing with the 3-point. I mean, I'm sure it's an inside thing with the 3 points with the way he does it to his face. I got on the graphic here. The guy's got his own set of things. He's his own person. He's interesting.
He does this. If you see it, he has his 3 fingers. You see the 3 fingers? And he's putting it over his nose, under his nose. It's to show the 3. That's what he's doing.
I think he's muttering something. Like he says.
He's not going to do it. Everybody's doing the Carmelo Anthony when he throws.
I remember that one for sure. But Carmelo didn't hit a lot.
Dante does that. Dante does that when he hits a 3. But
Dante. But Nova guys, they were all on that championship team and they won together. And I think that is so important in sports, a history of winning. Not just you were the best athlete. We talked a little bit about, Durant only was able to win with Golden State with Curry. His college team was trash. You remember they were one and done in college. He was amazing during the regular season, but they were a trash team. I mean, say what you want. I think his coach was Rick Barnes or something, not traditionally thought of as a great strategic coach, but he didn't have that experience. So maybe it was just harder for him, and he had to find guys that knew how to win or had that, I guess Draymond won, right? There was that championship pedigree on that team.
Yeah, Draymond won, and now he's taking it out.
Screw Draymond Green, please. Former Alabama and NFL quarterback Greg McElroy criticized Caleb Williams, saying that he didn't face any adversity in his career. He added that he doesn't have to chip on his shoulder. He doesn't have the chip on his shoulder because he has always been thought of as the guy, both at Oklahoma and USC. Williams responded to the criticism by stating the dictionary definition of adversity, and then mentioning how he didn't start his freshman year, and then got hurt towards the end of his second year when he won the Heisman. Bears general manager Ryan Poles said he watched Williams' performance against Notre Dame, which he struggled, and said he thought that Williams spent a lot of time thinking how he could get better. Many NFL scouts and executives believe that Caleb Williams could have even more arm talent than Patrick Mahomes when he was a prospect. Williams had 10,082 passing yards, 93 touchdowns, and 14 interceptions, and a 66.9% completion percentage in 3 years in college. Here's what I'm going to say about Caleb Williams. If Caleb Williams just stays out of the tabloids, stays out of the papers, stays away from the press, get drafted, get on the field, learn the game. I don't think it's a good fit over there in Chicago. Eberflus right now is the coach. He's a defensive coordinator. Who is the offensive coordinator there? Probably nothing special. Another Nathaniel Hackett. Thank you to the New York Jets. But who's the offensive?
Shane Waldron is now their offensive coordinator,
okay,
who came from Seattle, did pretty good over there with Geno Smith.
It's not going to happen. Okay, it's not going to work over there. He will be fired at the end of the year. You're going to see Caleb Williams jump from coach to coach to coach. It doesn't work. Now, I like the addition of Keenan Allen. I like DJ Moore. I like some of the weapons that they have. They have a good running game now this year. They bring in Swift. Congratulations. It's going to be a more prolific offense if they can actually stay healthy. I like Caleb Williams. I've always thought that Caleb Williams was going to be a good NFL player. I've argued with people that are having these drafts and they have like yearly drafts. And now with this draft coming up, and Anthony Andriosi tells me that he will not draft Caleb Williams. He's in the top 3 if two of the guys that are drafting in front of him don't need a quarterback. So he has a very good chance. If he gets Caleb Williams, he will trade the pick. And I told him, why? You don't have a quarterback. Who's your quarterbacks? He said Matthew Stafford and Tom Brady, which, by the way, is retired now. So he needs another quarterback. So why wouldn't you draft Caleb Williams? So I don't know if he has a stronger arm than Patrick Mahomes. I don't even think Patrick Mahomes has the best arm in the league right now. I think it's Josh Allen. So I understand you sit here and you want to argue about what Caleb Williams could be. I think he could be an ultimately talented superstar in the league if everything works out, if he fits the criteria of an NFL player. But look at Trevor Lawrence. Has he? I mean, everybody thought he was a must-hit. Trevor Lawrence has been a bust. He's been a bust. If we go up and down some of these top-end quarterbacks that we've been speaking about over year after year after year, have they worked? And the answer is no. And I can name a bunch of Jet ones that everybody thought was going to be great, and they've sucked. So it doesn't always work. Finding a top-end quarterback doesn't always work. And when you have one and you find one, aka CJ Stroud, you want to make sure you don't bring in a cocky wide receiver SOB that's going to cause a lot of havoc in the locker room.
And I think that's why the Bears have built this team the way they did. Like, they built it on a good mixture of veterans and young guys that are really going to help Caleb Williams out from not only from a football perspective, but from a leadership perspective, if he doesn't, like you said, get involved in his own distractions like he has at certain points. Now, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because I think some of the things that people criticize him for are silly, but still, like,
I love the crying on the field, by the way. I love it. It shows some personality. I mean, every time he loses, you see him crying. He had his, he had his shoulder to cry on with his mom. He had his girlfriend. I mean, he cried to a stranger. He was crying to a stranger on the sidelines. I mean, it's great. It shows punctuality. I guess he's a crybaby.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Caleb the Crybaby Williams. I like that.
Yeah, and as long as the teammates don't have a problem with that, I think the Bears are set up very well with the offensive players that they have, and they still have another pick at number 9.
I'm going to say something to Greg McElroy, okay? I'm going to say this because he was a Jet quarterback, and what did you ever win, okay? Who the hell are you to speak about anybody, including the number 1 quarterback? Were you the number 1 quarterback in your draft class? No, you weren't. Were you a first-round draft pick in your draft class? No, you weren't. Why are you speaking about anybody? Greg McElroy is a joke. He's a jackass. How many people has he thrown under the bus ever since he's become an analyst? He's a pretty boy in front of the camera, and he should have never been a quarterback in the NFL. He sucked everywhere he went. He was a journeyman. Who is he to speak about anybody? And for him to say that, hey, this guy never fought adversity in college. Really? Never played with adversity? How many good defenses has he played for? I mean, pretty much everywhere he's played, the defense was the worst in the country. And why were they the best offensive team in the country? I don't know, because maybe he was the quarterback. You play for Alabama. Every year they have the best defense. What are you kidding me? You always have the best running game and the best defense. Always do. Always do. You always get the best players because you had Nick Saban as your head coach, and you're going to go out there and attack this kid because nobody likes him. Nobody likes him because he was the predominant number 1 pick for the last 3 seasons. He won the Heisman as early as he did. Should have won 2 of them, but he decided to go and play in USC with the coach that developed him in Lincoln Riley. Did it work? Not only do I think it's going to work when he goes to the NFL, let's go through the quarterbacks that did go through Lincoln Riley that has succeeded. Jalen Hurts just got a $200 million contract, one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league. Baker Mayfield just got $170 million contract. Got a new contract from Tampa. Worked out over there. Kyler Murray just got a big extension from, I don't know, the Arizona Cardinals. He does speak in a third person, but hey, he got $100 and something million, $200 million contract over there. 3 quarterbacks. Can you name the last coach in college that had 3 first-string quarterbacks that made over almost $1 billion? The answer, ladies and gentlemen, no one. And here comes another one. Here comes another one in the league. Here comes another success story, and he can shove that football right up where the sun doesn't shine, and he will.
And he's a prospect that isn't raw either, like some of those other ones you listed. Jalen Hurts at Alabama would not be what you would consider a prototype NFL quarterback at the time. He had to change it. He had to change a lot at Oklahoma to really even not even get drafted on the second round the way he did, even just to get drafted in not like the 5th or 6th rounds. Like Jalen Hurts was very raw. He was an electric quarterback because of his speed and his arm strength, but didn't have much of a game besides that. And Kyler Murray was pretty raw too, but obviously being a baseball player as well, like he had to really grow his game when he first came over there to Oklahoma, and he won a Heisman obviously, but still it took a while for that to get going too. Baker Mayfield was probably the only like experienced one that was pretty steady throughout his college career with Lincoln Riley, but even that got accelerated that last year when they made the playoff, and they almost beat Georgia in the playoff too in that wild game that went to overtime. So yeah, he definitely deserves a lot of credit. And this is a prospect that he had to overcome adversity, Greg McElroy, because he wasn't even the starter that first year. Errol's least favorite quarterback, Spencer Rattler, was the starter that first year.
And he's going to fail.
He's a lot more hype on him at the time.
He's going to fail in the NFL. I have said this already. Everybody, I don't want to hear from Sean and Mr. Wright.
Yeah.
Mr. Wright telling me that this guy is the best quarterback in the class. It's a joke. He's not the best quarterback in the class. Anybody that thinks that Mr. Rattler is the best quarterback in this class is absolutely blind. They need to take the stick out of their ass and start riding it, because maybe you're a witch or something. You have some magical powers and you think that you're going to give him the power of being a quarterback. He is not going to be a good quarterback. I'm telling you right now, every quarterback that's been in this system has been successful practically in the NFL. If you want a good quarterback, go and look at anybody Lincoln Riley is coaching. That's the facts, guys. Why did Cliff Kingsbury decide to be part of that coaching staff in the 1 year he decided to step away from the NFL? I wonder why he decided to do that. Because he knows Lincoln Riley is a quarterback genius. That is why I like Cliff Kingsbury as an offensive coordinator, not as a head coach. He might get a coaching job. I wouldn't be surprised. Mark my words here. If Robert Saleh falls apart this year and the Jets fall apart, don't be surprised if Cliff Kingsbury is the next head coach for the New York Jets. Just remember I said this because the Jets really liked him when he was available. And I'm telling you right now, he's an offensive mind, and the Jets, Woody Johnson loves those guys. So I wouldn't be surprised. But Caleb Williams is going to be successful in the league. He will. Baker Mayfield is. I didn't like the hype when Baker went 1, but you could see what a lot of people now see in Baker Mayfield. He's got that personality that you need as a quarterback to be successful in the NFL. I think Caleb Williams has the same. I also think Kyler Murray. All of them have that it factor. Even Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts to this day, he lost the job to Tua, okay? Tua took the job from him. Every time he steps on that field, he's trying to prove something to everybody, that he is better than Tua. He's the best or one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the league. He didn't have a great year last year. Maybe because of the struggles of the team, maybe because of the coaching staff, maybe because the coach is just an idiot. But
yeah, Brian Johnson is not the brightest offensive coordinator.
But I think you have to give a lot of credit to Lincoln Riley. Lincoln Riley developed these guys. He's done the right thing. And I love what I see. I really do. I love everything that I've seen so far with this kid, Caleb Williams. And I think Caleb Williams is going to be a star in this league. There's no question that I think he will be. I worry that he's going to Chicago, and I just don't like Eberflus. So you're going to see a young kid, he's going to have one coach for 1 year, and then he's going to be fired, and then a new coaching staff. So you're going to have 2 coaches in less than 2 years from a rookie quarterback, just like Justin Fields. And that's what worries me. I think Justin Fields is going to flourish right in Pittsburgh. He's going to take that job right from Russell Wilson. And when that happens, I'm going to tell everybody, I told you so.
And by everyone, you mean Jack Sperry.
Yeah, he's another one.
Like the adversity thing that I keep getting, and I agree with Speedy, like what is McElroy talking about? His whole career, you guys are on the point. He didn't have to worry about a bad pocket, maybe more than twice. This is a guy that had it all set up for him on one of the greatest teams ever. And he was just that token quarterback that was carried along. Now, and look, he did a great job with being the game manager that Saban wanted. That's what he was there for. Good for him. You realize what Caleb Williams was doing? There's no line. He's running for his life. What he does that looks like Mahomes to me is that when he gets out of the pocket, he's looking downfield to throw while he's still running full speed and still able to run if he has to. He might be more athletic than Mahomes on the run.
I think
probably
he is.
not with arm talent, but because Mahomes is ungodly with the arm talent. To be better than Mahomes is not necessarily the best throwing arm, but from the different angles on the run.
Just so everybody knows, they said that Caleb Williams threw the ball in USC from the end zone all the way to the other end zone. Just think about that. That's 100 yards. He threw from one side to the other. This is what I heard, and they have video of it that he threw from one side to the other. So if he could do that, it's otherworldly what he could do on a football field if he needs to throw the ball down the field. So I'm just.
A guy like that can cover a lot of problems with the team because he can. But it doesn't matter how far you throw. Daniel Jones doesn't have the best arm, but Daniel Jones can't look downfield as he's escaping the pocket. He can't make those plays. He can only take off and get hurt, or take off and maybe be able to move the drive forwards. But it's not going to be enough. You're not going to get enough points with a guy who can't make those types of plays. He's got that ability already. If you have that ability, and you can throw for forever and a day. I mean, what's stopping you from being a superstar other than coaching for a short period of time? That's it. For a short period of time, but he's going to overcome that.
No, I think so.
That's just too much time.
I think he'll figure it out. I think they'll figure it out if it's not going to be Eberflus, but they'll bring in a coach that's going to want that job because it's him. And what they have a lot of draft stock. Even this year, they have a ton of draft stock. They're going to be fine. I mean, Chicago's going to be one of the contenders for many, many years. I think, and they'll build that defense. That defense was pretty good last year in the second half, and the offensive line was much better. And now with some of the weapons that they brought in a Keenan Allen, who he's been a successful wide receiver in this league for many, many years, borderline Hall of Famer. DJ Moore's a young, flashy wide receiver that can go up and get the ball. They're going to draft probably a Dunze maybe over there. I mean, they're going to have so many weapons. So, and with him, Eberflus will fail. I do not believe Eberflus will keep that job, but they're going to bring somebody big that's going to take that. Don't be surprised if Bill Belichick decides to come back. He takes that job. Yeah. Don't be surprised.
Can you picture though, Caleb Williams painting his fingernails and Belichick asking him about it though in the locker room? Can you picture those conversations? I don't know if that would work.
But we've had a lot of these ex-players that played for Bill Belichick say that he's one of the funniest guys they've ever met. So
this guy's different, man. As we were saying at the beginning, I don't know if that's like an extra generation, that Belichick had to overcome. I don't know. These kids, I mean, I'm around these kids all the time. They're different, man. This generation, I don't know if they got a letter yet. Maybe it's Z. Maybe it's
bring Speedy around them. That would be interesting. What don't you think, Speedy?
I don't know.
You want to paint your nails?
No. But by the way, I don't know where Reno Johnny is, but we do have Chaz who's going to make his picks for Let's Parlay in a bit. I just want to read Keith's comments. Alabama's had successful quarterbacks. Well, don't tell that to Jeff because we always argue with
All
that.
right, before we bring in Chaz, do you want to go quickly through our picks and where we see baseball this year?
All right.
Do you want to do that quick?
Yeah, we could do that.
All right. So we'll go through each division, including you, Fish, and we'll go through the MLB. Take your picks to win the division, where you think they are, what their records are going to be. And Speedy will keep tabs on it, and we'll see who's right at the end of the year.
All right. We'll start with the American League East. The The Yankees, the Orioles, and those are the two teams I have in the playoffs. I have the Red Sox finishing last still. I think their pitching will be better. I just don't know if their hitting's going to be overly consistent, but I like their depth a little more with the pitch. I think they'll be a little better than last year.
How many wins?
I'm going to say, let's say 72, I'll say. I think they'll be pesky, but still not great. The Blue Jays, they're my fourth. They're going to fall off this year. I think they're going to be kind of a mediocre 500 team. Their pitching depth, I don't think it's the same as in previous years, and they have some injury issues too. So I think they are underwhelming. Rays will be third. They'll be pesky. I think they'll be just out of the playoffs. I'll say 84 wins. I'm going to say the Yankees 91. Very improved pitching staff, like you were saying before. And I think the Orioles still get first. I'm going to say around 95 wins. Very fun young team.
All right, Fish, give us your picks of the American League East.
All right, so doing it in reverse order, like you were talking, Speedy. I think Tampa's finally going to fall off a little bit this year. I think they're turning over the roster again a little bit. They always have a little dip before they bounce back, doing their version of Moneyball. I was down there for a few years. Then they're completely fine with it because the fans are. I'm sorry, I've been down there. They're kind of trash. So. It's just not. There's no energy in that place. It looks like rotted out Nickelodeon studios inside.
Well, you don't want to be in Nickelodeon studios after watching that documentary.
And that's the reference I'm making. I watched that doc.
I haven't done it yet. I'm going to watch it. So
pretty wild. It was a little bit after the generation of shows I watched. I was
there watching those shows. So salute your shorts. Ren and Stimpy, I watched all of them. So
yeah, it was like the next generation after that with like Keenan and Kel and the Amanda Bynes and all them.
Yeah.
Anyway, not important. So I think Tampa's going to end up a little under 500 this year. I'm going to call it, but it's going to be close. They're all really good in the divisions. They're going to be around 75 wins, 76 wins. Toronto, I think, is going to be a 500 team. They're getting guys back. Vlad Guerrero is not panning out the way that we all thought he was going to. He seems to have, I don't know, it's not character issues, but I just get a bad feeling about that guy. Biggio's son hasn't turned out to be the guy, and Bichette's have dealt with some knee problems, as we know, and I think it sapped them a little bit. So I think they're around 500. Let's give them a 500 record, 82. Boston, I like some of their young pitchers, man. I really like Bello. I really like Cutter Crawford. I think is a nice young pitcher as well. So I think they're going to rise a little bit more than people realize. I think they're going to be just a little bit over 584. Yankees, I love them, man. Juan Soto, it's all about Soto. Judge turns it on. Look at Stanton right now with that wiry muscle leading down like a soccer player, instead of being a bulky guy. I think the Yankees, we get Cole back. We get lucky. He gets back faster than we think. Let's call it 93 wins for the Yankees, getting in the playoffs. But the Orioles, I think this is a 100-win team, man. They are better than they were last year. They dominated the league, the division last year. They just got Jack Holiday up. They got two other killers in the minors right now, just waiting to come up. They're going to trade some of these extra guys for another arm or closer because Bautista's done and Cano's not really the guy. They're going to load up, and this might be their year. I'm going to give them 101, and they're going to be the pennant winner.
All right. So I've watched the American League East. Since I was a kid. I've been a baseball fan since I was born. I was brought home in a Yankee pajamas. I grew up a Don Mattingly fan. But to go through this division this year, it's very interesting. But I don't think the Boston Red Sox are that good. And they're having a good start off of the season, but I don't think they have any depth. Their farm systems, they're rebuilding right now. They fired their GM. They have a new GM there. It's going to take them a little while to figure things out. They have some pieces, but not enough to really win this division. I think this is the worst team in the division. I do. I think all these teams are going to be over 500. So if there's 162 games, I could see Boston winning 84 games. So I'm going to give Boston 84 wins this year. My second to last team is Tampa this year. Now, Tampa is back and forth. We don't know what this pitching staff's going to be. Their number one pitcher is not 100% healthy. We don't know when he's coming back. There's a lot of questions to the Tampa Bay Rays. Obviously, they lose their shortstop probably forever. I mean, for all the things that he did at the Dominican Republic and all the stupid, crazy stuff. But I still think this team is a pretty good team. They'll find ways to win. They'll go on a winning streak. I would give them about 86, 87 wins. The Toronto Blue Jays, I think they're a lot better than you guys think they are. Now, they started off the season not very good. Vladimir Guerrero's a star. Bichette is a star. They have pitching. They have a good farm system. This is a good team. All right. And I think that they're a borderline playoff team. I could see 3 teams coming out of the American League East. I could see 3 of them coming out. And I think the Blue Jays are a team that's going to come out of the American League East as a third place team. Give me the Blue Jays. I would put them between 90 to 91 games won. Okay. Now, the Orioles. I think the Orioles are a great team, but there's something about the sophomore slump. This is a young team. They added Burns. You say they're a lot better, that's fine. Just because they're a lot better doesn't mean on paper they're going to win. I think that they think that they're better than what they are. I think Jack Holiday is going to come up in the league. It's going to take him a little while to figure things out in the majors. I think he's going to be a superstar when he does. But I think a lot of these players, it's going to have to take a little time to work. And that's the reason why I don't think they're winning this division. And a lot of people think, hey, you know what? They won 100 games last year, so maybe they'll probably win 105, 106. It's not going to happen. I think Baltimore is between a 96, 97 win team. And as far as the New York Yankees are concerned, this is the best team in the American League. I don't care what anybody says, not because I'm a Yankee fan. I've seen enough. Garrett Cole is still not on this roster. When he comes back, this is the best pitching staff right now in the American League East. It's not even an argument. Carlos Rodon's pitching well. Marcus Stroman's pitching okay. Nestor Nasty Cortez is pitching pretty good as a fourth guy. Schmidt looked pretty good in his 2 starts. I like this team. I really, really do. This lineup is as good. They're not even hitting on all cylinders. Aaron Judge is batting under 200. You think that's going to continue? This guy is a career almost 290 hitter. I love this lineup. Torres is looking for a big contract. I expect a big year. Volpe's a star. I love this lineup. And Soto's going to hit 50 home runs. He's going to be an MVP candidate. I just love it. And Dominguez will be back soon. This is not even at full strength. I love the Yankees this year. They're getting over 100 wins. I would say between 98 and 102 wins. This is by far the best team in the American League. Give me the Yankees winning the American League East. Now we have to go faster because we have Chaz waiting.
Yeah. All right. So the Central, I'm going to go White Sox last. They just got in full free fall now. I think they'll start trading off pieces. They're like 61 wins for me. I'm going to go Royals 4th in the division. I think they're kind of like 70, low 70s, high 60s. Good offensive team, but I think they're going to grow. This is where I'm going to go surprise. I'm going to go Twins 3rd, actually. I don't know if I could trust their offense to do the same thing. I like their pitching a lot, but I think their offense drops off. I like Cleveland 2nd. I'm going to go with the Tigers to win the division this year. So they're the surprise young team. They're like the Reds, like the Diamondbacks of last year. I love a lot of their young talent. I'm going to say 85 wins for the Tigers. I'll say 82 for Cleveland, 78 for Minnesota.
So before I say that I'm doing real quick, did you see Ozzie Guillen say Luis Robert got hurt because he's not fat enough? That fat doesn't pull muscles.
It's on both my fantasy teams.
Ozzie Guillen. That's why Ozzie Guillen's not in the major leagues right now. Okay.
Ridiculous. The White Sox are going to be historically bad this year. They're going to be in dead last. They already are free falling. It's a joke. They're not even really trying this year. Minnesota, I heard rumors that Correa is going to be better. He's not. They're going to be below 500. They're in 4th. The Tigers they're young. They have a good new closer. We're seeing a good new young starter coming out, firing. I forget his name right now, but I know that a lot of scouts are liking them to be better than they were. Let's give them, just under 500, around 500. Kansas City, I'm just going to go chalk with how it is right now. Kansas City started really hot, like really, really hot. It's about time they woke up. Let's give them a chance to be fighting for that wild card at about 86 wins. And Cleveland's definitely going to win that division. Let's give them a 91 and moving on.
All right. Chicago, to me, is the worst team in this division. They're rebuilding. They've always been rebuilding, it seems like. Chicago, 68 to 72 games. They'll probably somewhere low 70s. Then I would put Detroit. Detroit looks like a good young team. I like what I see, but I still question this team moving forward. They still have a lot of young players that need to be developed. So I would say Detroit, a 78, 79 win team at best. Then I would put Kansas City. I think Kansas City is right now, they're playing good baseball. I think they're going to fall off. They They have a bunch of good young players, but their roster is, I don't really like it. I think they're going to trade off some of the veterans on this roster. So Kansas City wins about 80 games this year. My second team, Minnesota. I think Minnesota's a borderline playoff team. They were a playoff team last year. I think they're a lot better than you guys think they are. I think they're going to go on a very big win streak. They have a good roster. This is a good hitting roster. Minnesota will win about 88, 89 games this year. And then Cleveland will be a 90, 89, 91 win team. They'll win the division, not by much. It'll be back and forth with Minnesota. I wouldn't be surprised if one of the other wins. So that's where I think the Central is.
All right. You want to go to just finish the American League, then go to Chaz probably?
Yeah, well, yes.
Right.
We'll do the National League next week.
All right, we'll do the National League next week. Sounds good. All right, so AL West, I think both Oakland and LA are going to stink. I think they can both lose. They can both only win 60 games or less. Like, they could be that bad this year. The other three teams, I think, are all playoff teams. I think Seattle, Texas, and Houston will all be 90-win playoff teams. Seattle's got the good pitching. Texas has that great lineup and still has good pitching depth. But I think the Astros win the division with some of the pitchers getting healthier now, signing Josh Hader in the offseason. I think the Rangers, there'll be a little more attention on them, so they'll still be a wild card team, and so will Seattle. So Astros like 97 wins. I'm going to say Rangers.
There's
94.
no way the Astros are winning 97.
94, and Seattle 92.
It's the coaching, the managing. They have a new manager there. There's no Dusty Baker. I think there's a big problem there. That's just my opinion. But go ahead.
No, I get this.
No, I'm sorry. I was just going to quickly look. Trout's got 6 home runs. He's leading the league right now. And this is with him doing everything he can. They're 6-6 to start the year. They're going to fall off. They always do. I can't believe Trout hasn't tried to get out of there. Oakland is going to be worse than them, though, because they always are. They never compete, and you know what's going on with the team. They're gonna play in Sacramento, their AAA stadium, for 3 years until Vegas comes. The fans are boycotting. There's no worse, mojo going on for any team than Oakland now. I don't expect them to win much more than 50 games. I think they're going to be an atrocity, although I do like a couple of young players on the team. Seattle, Kirby sucks right now. Kirby's supposed to be one of the best pitchers in the league. He's contributing to them having a slow start, but Logan Gilbert is a stud. That dude is a great, great pitcher. And people don't even know who he is yet. So I really would expect them to make the playoffs. As far as Texas, Josh Jung got hurt again. That's problematic. That's a guy that they really want as they're getting better. I don't think they're going to win as many games as they did regular season last year, but I do think they're a playoff team. And although I hate Houston and they started slow, they're coming around. That they're a power. That Altuve is going to work his magic eventually. So, you got to give them the benefit of doubt until they're proven wrong. As far as winner of that division, it's really toss-up. Probably Texas, but it could go either way.
All right, so I'm going to make it quick. Los Angeles and Oakland are going to be the two worst teams in the division. They'll be lucky if they both win in the 70s. So I think they're between 70 and 75, maybe a little bit more, but that's about it if they go on, a winning streak. My third worst team in the division, they could make the playoffs, and I'll say this, I think it's Houston. I don't think Houston's winning the division. I think there's a big problem with the new manager over there. I wouldn't be surprised if they fire him in the second half of the season. They're not playing well. You could see the pitching staff. They're not clicking on all cylinders. They're 4-10. I mean, they're 6 games under 500. To start a season like that, have you ever seen the Houston Astros fall 4-10 in the beginning of the season? I've never. Not in the last 5-6 years. This doesn't look good for Houston. I think they're a borderline playoff team. I think they'll win probably between 88 and 90, 89 or 90 games. I think that's what they're at. I think my second favorite team in this division is Seattle. I think Seattle's going to be fun to watch. Their power, the pitching staff, they're fun. They have a great bullpen. I think they're very well coached. Give me Seattle. I think Seattle wins about between 90 and 93 games. And then my champion in the division in the American League West, I like the Texas Rangers. I think they're the best manager in the division. There's no question that they do. I think they have a lot of talent, and they have some young talent that's going to be called up. 2 really good pitchers in the farm system. Give me the Texas Rangers winning the division, 94-95 wins. So there you go.
All right, let's bring on Chaz in now. Sorry, Chaz. It's a little change of plans here, but we made it
No,
work.
you know, I sit in the background and listen, and I learn. I'm not stupid.
Are you ready? Are you ready for Let's Parlay?
I'm always ready.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we call this segment, it's the end of the show. We just have Chazzy Moto, but we're happy to have him on. We call this Let's Parlay.
It's time for Let's Parlay.
Crazy. We have Wes. He's hanging out. He was in Chicago doing whatever he was doing. Now he doesn't want anything to do with sports betting for a week.
No, he took offense to your comment, is what it was.
Me? I didn't do
No, I'm
anything.
kidding. We took offense to your
say anything.
comments. Holy
I
cow.
didn't say it.
We need therapy.
First of all, I asked him. My question was, he said that he was there doing something with therapeutic or something like that. I said, you're at therapy, so that was like 2 weeks ago. But anyways, Chaz, you obviously everybody knows how this works. Chaz is going to have his top.
Hey, no. Before we go any further, though, I talk to Speedy a lot. I haven't talked to you as much, but I've been talking to Petey, every week. So
yes.
I kind of blurred my plays, and I don't remember what were Thursday and what were Saturday or Friday. We do it Friday for Saturday, so it's a little confusing to boot. What did I do last week, Thursday? What did I give you? I don't even remember. Did I go 2-2, 3-1?
By the way, I want to congratulate you that you won Speedy's bracket by very little, by the way.
Yes, the bracket.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. When they give out the trophy at the Kentucky Derby, does it matter whether they won by a nose or a head or a foot or a leg? It don't matter.
I was so pissed off. Oh, man.
You know what's the best part is ESPN sends you a email, and when you open it, you get confetti. It says congratulations, the confetti pops, and a W is a W. I take the win.
I got a bag of dog crap. That's what I got.
I like winning.
Yeah.
But more importantly, that's why I was asking Petey. I had a really good weekend. And for me, I had a really good weekend.
You actually had six. You gave out 6 plays, I guess, last week inadvertently. I have to check the Purdue over for sure, but you had everything else. You were 3-2 on everything else. Alabama didn't cover, unfortunately. They almost did, and then UConn under was not right, but you got the 2 player props you had, and you had the Alabama.
Well, I didn't have Alabama. I had Alabama's team total under. That was a winner.
That was a winner, yes. That was a winner. Then you had the 2 player props. Edey and Burns both went over their totals, which was correct.
Edey, the game that Edey had 35 or 37, whatever.
37, national.
I had him 20, 25, 25 and a half, 30, 35, and 40. And we were just watching as he was getting fouled and making free throws, and I was cashing tickets. It was a good day.
A good day for you. Not a good day.
So I told you guys I'm all into football. That's what I do. You mentioned you heard what Wes said about it's he's not a really baseball guy. NHL and NBA are kind of in a weird place. So, but I'm 100% focusing on the spring football. I really believe the spring football is going to end up being in minor leagues for the NFL because with NIL. The bottom line is it just gives guys the ability to keep playing football and not have to make a lot of money to do it. Because you know what? If you put some of that NIL, everybody's getting NIL money. If you're on a team, you get some money. You put that away, and then you can play for $70,000 and give it a shot. Because again, you can play it in the league, right? It's a big deal. It really is. You don't walk around with a lot of guys that played in the league, even though today John from GMF Sports sent us a picture of him with OJ, because OJ used to hang out with his brother-in-law in the casino. He's mentioned that, I think, on the show before.
Yeah, I think so.
So what did I say? I said R.I.P. OJ. I mean, I'm old, so OJ was, I know a lot of OJ before the trial, and that part of OJ was pretty special. It really was. But what are you going to do?
You want to make a prop that he's not dead?
Yeah. You know what? You probably could find that online with both Otto.
I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean,
Tupac Shakur. Everybody thinks that he's not dead.
Remember, he needed like a crazy amount to break the record in the last game. He needed like 220 something yards, and he got like 260. I think that's my memory. He
My
was just
memory
amazing.
is 94. That's
Yeah.
the only memory I remember.
That was Chaz's first player prop he ever submitted.
Yeah, there you go. They had player props back then. So yeah, so I'm going all in on the spring football, and so those are probably mostly going to be my plays going forward until June. When June comes, it'll be CFL and spring football ends. Kind of they merge right after each other, so it should work out well. And I'm taking it seriously because it's my money I'm betting, and I win money. So, but so this week, what do I have? I have Saturday 10 o'clock. I have over in the DC Arlington game. Now remember, I don't even know some of these team names. I have to remember. On one website they use their nicknames. I don't know their nicknames, so I have to put them both together. And it took me a while with Canadian football too. But yeah, what are my notes on that? That's a DC. DC scoring some points. And what did I say with Arlington? Arlington loses at home, so I couldn't pick a team there, so I went with the over. And I'm not forcing plays, but this week it really is. It was hard to come up with four of them. Then Saturday afternoon, I'm going with Birmingham. They were a big winner for me last week. They've been scoring 27 points a game. They only scored 20, but they covered, and it was a sweet cover because they were given 6.5, and they were winning by 7, and the other team never threatened. So you got to watch. You know how it is when you're watching the fourth quarter on pins and needles? I got to watch the whole fourth quarter, knowing I was going to win. It was pretty cool. And then Sunday, 9 o'clock, under in the Houston, Michigan game. I like Michigan a little here as the dog, but I'm going to stick with the under because neither of these teams are allowing points. Where is Michigan? Yeah, Michigan's allowing 19 and scoring 16. Houston's scoring 15 and allowing 21. And when you do the math, either way you do the math, that's an under. And it's the lowest under on the board. So there's 4 games. I'm betting the highest over and the lowest under, and I told you why I do that, because the bottom line is those numbers can't move as much as numbers in the middle. And then finally, Sunday at noon. So Saturday's at night, but Sunday's at noon. Now, the problem with this Sunday at 9 o'clock is the second half goes off right about when I start church. We go to 10:30 church.
Could you sing us a church song right now?
I don't sing. You know what? We have 2 churches we go to. One of them does a lot of music, and I try to avoid that one because I'm not a big singer. And honestly, I can write better Christian songs than these guys are writing. And they're not writing their own. Because they on the board when they show the words so you could sing along, they also have who wrote the song, and the songs are terrible. But
I think you and Speedy in a song, that would be fun to listen to, man.
Well, there's a lot of things that rhyme with Speedy. You know that.
Needy.
Yeah, there you go. So Sunday noon, it is St. Louis at San Antonio. San Antonio was the game last week where they were 700, plus 700, 7-1, because they were losing, and I was betting for the second half, so I said, let me bet them just in case. And they won the game because the spring football has that weird rule that if you're losing but you score, you don't have to kick off. You can go for a 4th and 12. I don't know how they, this is like, you had to be eating edibles to come up with this rule. I don't know how they came up with it, but it worked. They got the first down. They scored a touchdown. I won the game, and it was 7-1. 7-1's pretty good. So I got the over.
If Dan Campbell wants to continue coaching after he's done with the Lions, he go to that league. He'll love
there
it.
You go.
12. Go for it every time.
Yeah, exactly. So I got over St. Louis, San Antonio, and I like San Antonio there as well. But those are going to be my plays. So I'm going to go Saturday morning over, Saturday afternoon Birmingham, Sunday morning under, Sunday afternoon or Sunday noon over. Noon my time, 3 o'clock your time. Because, and so you could see that, obviously, I don't have a feel for the teams yet if 3 of the plays I'm making have nothing to do with who wins,
Well,
and that is it, my friends.
Well, we really appreciate your time. I know you're a busy guy.
That is not all. That's it for Let's Parlay, but that is not all, because guess what else we have?
What do you got?
Horse races. Now, Petey, how about the horse races recently?
Yes.
Pretty darn good.
So if you're a horse betting, guy, Chaz is on point with these. So
well, here's what I do. I've got the. Is those today? Yeah. Okay. So I got I got the list. I just go up the list. So what happens is the daily race report lets me know when my horses are running. They let me know when they're working out and everything, but I just care about when they're running. And so this is for Friday. For tomorrow morning, we go tomorrow at Keelan in the 8th race, number 3 Classic Legacy, and in Aqueduct. There you go. Lightline is running in Aqueduct in the 2nd tomorrow, so that's early for you guys. It's early for me, too. It's 10 o'clock for me. Lightline number 2, that is Friday. And then Saturday, there is Keelan has the 8th race. Haystrike is number 5. He was supposed to run today, but he scratched out to that race, so I like him. And then in the very last prep race for the Derby, we have the Wine Steward, Encino, Hades, and Liberal Arts boxed, and we're going with Hades. And that is my horse racing weekend.
Well, we really appreciate the time as always. You're fantastic. Thank you for waiting. I mean,
No, you know what? Like I said, I was listening to you guys and I'm learning about baseball. You know, don't get me wrong. When I have a big week and it's Tuesday and Wednesday in the summer and there's no football till the weekend, I'll hop on some teams. What I like to do, honestly, is sit around and watch the game start and see what happens, and then look for opportunities. So an opportunity is like Atlanta and the Mets are playing, and it's 2-1 in the 7th or 6th, and then you jump on the over. You get the over. It's supposed to be 9.5. You get it for 5.5 or 6. And remember, because of Paulo, I'm not afraid to bet minus 300. You know, the bottom line is I bet $300. I get $100. Okay, I'm good. I just want $100. That's all I look.
Just need the VAR overturning the goal.
Oh, it's brutal. But today, I tell you what he did today was he's on a roll. He's 22-3. But today he had 2 games that won in the 92nd minute and the 93rd minute. So there's only 90 minutes in a game. But he had winners in the 92nd. So it was a real good weekend. And what I'm starting to do now is I'm starting to match up. I do like Wes taught me this. You take the play today and you match it to a play later on. So once I get the plays for the UFL done, then I'll hook them up with the plays from Paulo. So I'll bet Paulo's play straight, and then I'll put him in a parlay. Today, though, he understand, he gives me countries I've never heard of. Not countries, teams I've never heard of. I don't know the country. I got to look them up. Today, I found the team. He told me to bet that the bet is will both teams score, and I said yes. It was plus 118. I hit the other 2 bets, and they never cashed the 3-teamer. And then I looked, and it's because I have it next week. I bet the right team, but on the wrong game. So next Monday,
on sports.
Next Monday, I'm live. I'm tax day. I'm live to a 3-teamer in Uruguay soccer.
Well,
who did that last year? Somebody made a bet during the football season. It was like for week 3, and they put it for week 4.
Oh, I don't remember. But yeah, you know what? When you're on a book, some books they put out the line Saturday for the NFL games. Other ones on Tuesday you can bet first halves. And when you have a book that'll also keep going and they have running lines for all the weeks of the season, you got to be careful. You got to check the date. And especially if you're clicking real fast because it's almost kickoff. It's easy to do stupid stuff.
Well, we really appreciate the time as always, Chaz. You're fantastic.
Yeah, my pleasure, guys. Always be cashing.
Oh, and get a paddle out and beat Petey in the ass.
There you go. We'll talk.
Nice little paddle, right?
I don't know how to be beaten by a paddle.
I think a paddle would work for you.
Of course you do.
I think if we had Carl, decide what size paddle he can hit you with, I think he'd,
yes, I'm sure Carl would embrace it.
I think a nice spanking to you would be great.
Yeah, I'm sure Carl would embrace it.
I mean, have you ever had
with a paddle?
How did you get your spanking when you were a kid?
Their hands.
They put you over their legs and beat you with their hands?
What?
You just said
not legs. What is the legs have to do?
Have you ever gotten a spanking from a woman? No. Has she? No, you've never had a woman spank you?
Who do you think I am?
I think you're a pimp daddy. I think you know how to move, man. I mean, you have the rocket kicks when you're dancing. I mean, you're the king of Rockettes. I mean, if the Rockettes need a man dancing with them, Speedy is the perfect one. His kicks are some of the highest kicks I've seen in my life. I mean, he could be a mixed martial artist. He kicks.
Carl says it definitely wouldn't be a pickleball paddle.
Hey, listen, that would be interesting, being hit with a pickleball paddle. I mean, seriously.
Our friend Dave Benz would never do that to me.
Well, I'm not talking about Dave. I'm just speaking about, if I've been paddled before. When I was a kid, I think every single time I did something wrong, my grandmother had a paddle with just my name on it. She loved to hit me with the paddle. So when I was a kid, I wasn't the best kid. I mean, Speedy, you're one of how many boys? 4.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, could you imagine 4 boys running around and Speedy being the oldest?
Carl says Speedy has the Jimmy legs when dancing.
Oh my God. You guys got to watch this kid dance. It is, I just sit behind him and just watch. It is some of the fun. He is the most confident person, and he doesn't step back or anything. This guy goes straight out raw dogging, right, Speedy?
I don't know what that means.
You raw dogging, right?
I never heard that term. But
Do you raw dog it?
I have no idea.
Well, you should just say yes. I raw dog it.
I don't know. I don't need to be duped.
You're duped to what? You raw dog.
Whatever the hell that means.
All right, so there you go. He raw dogs. I mean,
what music do you like to dance to, though, Speedy? I mean, I do want to see this, but I'm curious, what you're dancing to.
I'm not really a dance music person. That doesn't really correlate.
Dude, you have to. It's funny because the music that he dances to, it's not in rhythm. So you got to slow the music.
I don't know the songs.
Slow the music. You got to slow the music.
I mean, are you doing rockhead kicks to Do Haas?
Oh my God. Oh, dude, he'll dance to anything. Jazz music, country music. It is the funny, especially when he's drunk. Oh my God, it is the funniest.
Yeah, I'm not exactly paying attention to what the song is. Like a lot of people will actually know the songs. Like,
I'm not. Oh my God, you will die laughing watching this kid dance. And you know what's so funny? I just let him go with it. It's so funny. People they love it. They absolutely love it. He has no fear of anything. If he feels comfortable, like somebody when he's around me, he has no fear doing anything. This guy would do anything. He'll jump on a bar and dance if he's drunk enough.
No, I won't.
I mean, seriously. I mean, you threw up all over the place 2 or 3 times.
Will you dress up like Travolta in Saturday Night Fever?
Oh my God, no.
Dance?
Oh my God, dude. He would be great with bell bottoms. Could you imagine Speedy with bell bottoms?
Yes.
Hand huggers, his balls plunging out. What do you think, Speedy?
Oh God, not gonna happen.
I think you would look good.
Not gonna happen.
I mean, you do the John Travolta. You do that little John Travolta dance, right?
I don't need that much attention.
Why not?
Because I'm not that.
I think it'd be funny.
Of course you do.
I listen. We've gone out for my birthday many, many times. My birthday's coming up. I'll be 42 this year. Old man E. I'll be 42 years of age this year, April 29th. And we're going out for my birthday, Speedy. And you know what you're going to do? You're going out in your underwear, man.
No, I'm not.
You're going out in your underwear.
No, I'm not.
No pants,
No.
baby. We're all going out. All us guys, we're going out with no pants, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be underwear and T-shirts. What do you think, Speedy?
Not gonna happen.
Why not?
Not.
You're gonna have to shave around those.
I'm
balls.
not doing that.
Whatever that Amazon rainforest.
I'm not
is right
doing
now.
that.
It's going to have to be clear and ready to go. You got to be spunky. You're gonna have to raw dog it, baby.
No.
Why?
I am not doing that.
Why not?
I am not going on with just my underwear.
Oh, let's invite your brothers too, because I think that would be cool. We'll be a train. Come on the train to Wade. Come on. Come on the train to train. What you don't like that?
Carl has a question for you. Who is better at raw dogging, Speedy or Nithin?
That's a good question. That's a really, really good question. Well, Nithin says he gets the ladies. He's a ladies' man, all right? And Speedy, he's not very confident around the ladies. So I'm going to predict it is Speedy that raw dogs it. He is the doggy that raw dogs it. Speedy, did you ever walk the dog?
I've walked dogs, yes, of course.
Have you ever walked your dog?
Yes.
How many times?
I don't know.
Did you ever watch your dog find a hole?
Yeah. There's 2 of them in their yard.
2 of them, okay. And how far did he dig? How far did your dog dig to get to the hole?
I didn't measure it. No.
You didn't measure it?
These are ditches.
Ditches, right?
Yeah.
I figured.
They're more like ditch holes. Now he was never really much of a digger.
Yeah.
My aunt's dog.
Have you ever spanked?
away,
Have you ever spanked him? So he could get to the hole quicker?
No.
No? He's never hit, you know, he never
No.
tapped it on the side to wake it up?
No, he's usually like, if someone just starts running, like he'll just run with them. Like he doesn't really need extra.
How far did he dig that hole?
I don't know.
I mean, how
I don't have a.
did it feel good for him? Did it feel good?
Now you want me to dissect the psychology of a dog?
Well, your dog. It's your dog.
How would I know?
I don't know. You're the one who's using it.
And I would know how he feels.
It is yours.
How would I know how he feels? Like dogs do not like convey like that much emotion the same way. Like they feel accomplished, or they feel they cry, but they bark. Whatever.
He gets long, right? And he's ready to attack, right? He's ready to attack that hole, right?
Not really the way you're thinking, but okay.
But he doesn't really like to attack the hole.
He's run into the ditches before, but like I don't.
He tries to look for that bone, right? He's trying to look for that bone.
More his toys.
Oh, there's toys.
Yeah.
There's a lot of toys there. I mean,
yeah, there are.
There are a lot of toys. There's a great imaginable amount of toys. You know.
Yes, I know.
Oh, okay. So Speedy's dog likes to dig and find holes and look.
He's not that much of a digger though. Like he never really was.
No, he doesn't really like to dig.
No. Again, my aunt's dog, unfortunately, who passed away this year, he was the one that loved digging up my grandparents' yard.
I'm sure.
He was the one that loved to dig.
Very, very much far.
But,
very much so. It was great.
No,
great
but
dig.
my family's dog, no, he was never as much of a digger.
No,
not really.
Your family has a dog now too?
We've had one.
How many? Does your brothers have dogs too?
No. It's all the same family.
Oh, so you share the same dog.
Same
You
dog.
share,
No, my brothers don't have dogs in their Boston apartments.
So you guys share the same dog.
Yes, it's a family dog.
All right.
I didn't know that was such a hard concept.
So you're sharing and you watch. You all go and watch him dig the hole.
No, he doesn't really dig.
What's he do?
He likes playing with his toys.
So he likes to find the hole.
If whatever toy is in a hole, I suppose.
All right. So
he likes to hide under the house too, which is also weird.
Well, did you ever hide under the house?
No. There's like so much other random crap there, but he loves going under there for whatever reason.
Did you ever ask anybody if they ever hung out in the bathroom and try to find a glory hole?
No.
No? No. Would you be interested in figuring out what a glory hole is?
No.
No, why not?
Has to do with a bathroom. Probably means it's that kind of thing.
What kind of thing?
The random discussions you like to have.
What random discussions I like to have. What are you talking about? I'm just asking you if you would be open.
It probably is related to that.
What is it related to? I don't understand. I'm asking
what you claim my dog likes to do and all that other nonsense.
No, I'm just asking you.
I think it's related.
No, it has nothing to do with relatedness. I'm trying to be honest with you. A glory hole is something that you've never felt before.
Okay, and I clearly don't want to know.
You don't want to know what the glory hole could do?
Clearly don't. If it has to do with like whatever you're describing with my dog in the bathroom and what it was with the bedroom in the past, then no.
Interesting. It's an interesting state.
Luckily, I can lock the door in the bathroom so he doesn't have to come in there.
Oh, you have to lock the door because if you're naked, he's ready to attack, right?
Yeah, he could be, unfortunately.
So has he ever tried to hump you?
Yes.
So he's jumped on your back.
Yes, he has. Yeah, he has.
So you were bending over and he just jumped on
inadvertently, like I was probably squatting down to plug something in or get something out of a cabinet or something like that. Like just crouching down, and all of a sudden I have this big thing on me. It's worse when I'm like in the summer when I'm wearing shorts. It'll scratch your legs. Got a couple cuts because of that.
Oh God! Oh my God! You're out of your mind. So you let you. I
didn't say let again. I'm not.
Were you ever naked? Were you ever naked when he jumped on your back?
No.
Okay, all right. I don't want to hear that he raped you.
No.
All right. So that's good. That's a good sign. I was about to worry about you.
Carl says, does Speedy's dog putt from the rough? I don't know what that means, Carl.
Does he putt from the rough?
I've never, my dog's never played with a golf ball as far as I know, unless my younger brother Aiden would have brought one back because he used to work at a golf place. I have no recollection of a golf ball.
Does he like to bite on balls?
Yes.
All right. How many balls?
He has a lot. His favorite are medium-sized squeaky tennis balls.
Oh, okay. Squeaky. Medium
He'll-
size?
Yeah, like if you bought a larger one, it's not as good. A smaller one, he's fine with, but the medium ones he loves. And
Yeah,
then
he likes the medium ones.
he just loves to try to get that squeaker out, and he'll just squeak it until
He'll
you like
squeak it
eventually
out.
he'll eventually destroy it.
He'll destroy it. He'll rip it apart.
Yeah.
That's the dog, man.
That's right.
The dog likes to, give it. Give it a
Oh yeah,
squeak.
he likes to tear apart his toys.
Oh, he likes to tear it apart. Nice and yummy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever tear it apart?
No.
Have you ever stuck balls in your mouth?
Not his toys.
Have you ever stuck the ball in your mouth?
Yeah, that's food. That's food ball.
Yeah. Food balls. Okay. What kind of food balls do you like?
Meatballs,
Okay.
cheese balls.
Cheese balls.
Those are
Okay.
the only two I know. Yeah, those are the only two I know.
How about goat balls? Have you ever tried that?
No, we're not going there.
So you've never tried the goat ball?
No, we're not going there.
Have you ever had cow testicles?
No.
You've never had one?
No.
I mean, those are actually delicious.
Okay, glad you enjoy them.
Neon. Oh, Carl wants to know if you've ever had neon balls. No neon balls.
No.
Squirrel balls.
No.
Those things are pretty long.
Okay.
Aren't cow balls called Rocky Mountain oysters?
That's what they are. Yes.
Like people legit like eat that too.
Yes, they do. I think Speedy would enjoy it.
It is a delicacy for over there, I guess.
Yeah, well, Speedy likes those delicate things, man. He likes to grab them, right?
What?
You like to grab things, right?
That means no. That's nothing correlated to what Fish is describing. Fish is describing a food that is a delicacy.
I'm asking you
another
if you like,
culture.
I'm
That
asking
question
you if you like to grab
is
things.
not related.
But I'm just asking you if you like to grab things.
I don't know. It's not really it's not really a feeling. Oh, I'm going to grab this so I feel so accomplished.
Well, I'm just saying that when you grab,
I think it's just a necessity.
Well, you grab the sack and you just pull it.
What?
You grab the sack and you pull it.
Of what?
I mean, what do you mean of what? You grab your sack and you pull it. You don't have a sack?
I'm not a farmer. Keith also says blue balls. I don't want to know what those are. That would imply me getting frostbite.
I'm not a farmer.
Frostbite? You don't want blue balls.
Oh, I don't know
You
what I
want
would
that
do with
one.
blue balls. I don't know what they are.
I'm not a farmer. It's funny. That was pretty funny. That's a great line. I'm not a farmer. Anyways,
I like the family dog comment earlier. It's important that you guys share the dog.
Yeah, you share the dog, you share the holes, right?
What?
You share the
holes are just in the yard.
Oh,
Nobody's claiming possession.
Well, you gotta claim it.
No, you don't.
You've never claimed a hole.
No.
You've never claimed
No.
ever.
No.
Why?
I don't care about claiming a certain part of my yard as being just.
I'm not talking about the yard. I'm talking about the hole.
Yeah, that's the hole.
All right. So, have you ever claimed a hole?
No.
You've never.
No.
Why?
I have no desire to possess anything like that.
Well, a hole is very good to claim.
Okay. Why don't you go start an auction with people who care about bidding for holes?
Let's start an auction. Let's. Oh, thank you. Thank you to Emmy-Award winning sports broadcaster Dave Benz for joining us tonight. He was fantastic. Thank you to all the fans, man, except Jeff. Thank you to all the fans for tuning in and letting us entertain you for almost 4 hours tonight. We do it. We're a 3-hour show, but we really get enough content out there where we could do a 4-hour show. It is amazing. We could probably do a 5-hour show if we really want to, but it's hard to do even a 4-hour show. So for all the fans that tune in and listen to us and for us to entertain and anybody that's not a sports fan, you can still listen to us and I'm sure we can entertain you. So it is crazy. Like I said, and I want to thank Fish for all the graphics that you do and the time that you put into it. And I know you're a busy guy, you're a teacher, and you like to dig up holes too. I got to ask your wife, Anyways, and Speedy, who doesn't really like holes and doesn't have a sack. You don't have a sack, right? No, he doesn't have a sack. He doesn't own a sack. Anyways, sack of balls? No. You never had a sack of balls?
I don't have a sack of balls. No.
Well, you do have a sack of balls.
No, I don't.
Oh, you don't have a sack of
I
balls.
don't.
So, okay. All right. So maybe he doesn't have a sack of balls. But thank you to Speedy for producing and doing what he does best, co-hosting all the graphics, all the stuff that he does, not the graphics, the YouTubes and all the social medias that he does. He's fantastic. Thank you. Thank you to all the fans for almost 11, almost 12. I'm going to be 42 this year. I started doing digital radio at the age of 30. So it's going on 12 years that I've been doing this. And thank you to everybody. Thank you to Carl. Thank you to all the people that have stuck by us and let us entertain you for all these years, for all the different people we've had on this network and some of the personality, egotistical cocks. And, I'm not saying the bad word of that. I'm like, the Roosters, right, Speedy?
I don't know where this is going to go. I'm very afraid. God forbid I make a comment about a farmer 2 minutes ago. And now he's going to bring it to
So, I want to bring it full circle from the what we've been talking about all night. Speedy doesn't completely understand what you're saying, but he understands enough to know that something's off. Shohei Ohtani couldn't understand enough that something was off with $16 million in 3 years. Come on now. Everybody knows something is up. You gotta we're gonna find out a lot more. We'll keep updating all you guys out there about it. I'm sure we're gonna get a lot more funny stuff out of this crazy story.
So Speedy is a sackless wonder. We're gonna call you the sackless wonder. What do you think?
I have no idea.
So you're sackless. You don't have a sack.
I don't have one. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's a sackless wonder. There you go. He doesn't own a sack.
Sure.
Doesn't have sacks.
Sure.
Anyways, again, thank you to all the fans for being here. I hope we entertain you as much as we love to entertain you guys. And we will be back on Wednesday and Thursday next week. Shout out to Scoops. He's sick right now. That's why he wasn't in the studio tonight. He will be back with us on Thursday night. But again, I appreciate everybody for staying around as long as you guys have over the years, and all the fans, all the new fans from all 100,000 downloads on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, 50,000 now. And even our YouTube is really starting to take off. Thank you. Yeah, we're going to have a draft. Yes, we're going to have a draft pick show. And yes, Carl, you can join our draft show. So, and so could you, Keith, if you want to have a draft. We do these draft shows. So we will definitely be doing a show during the draft. So we're very excited. We're always excited about the draft. And this will be Fish's first draft with us. So it's always fun.
That's
and
exciting. It's a holiday for me every year. I used to go to the draft when I was in the city every year. Day 2 used to go for free, and they give you all you can drink for free. You just had to tip guys and try out like a weird new potato chips, like as a little test audience type of thing. But it was great. I was one of those crazy people you'd see on TV chanting for Rich Eisen and Mel Kiper drunk in the mezzanine. That was a lot of fun, man. I miss those days. Selfishly, I wish it was back in New York City, man.
I want Speedy.
Let's do it. We'll do it here.
I want Speedy to find his sack. What do you think?
I don't have a sack.
Okay, I want you to find it.
I don't have it.
All right. So
I can't find something that doesn't exist.
All right. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Speedy don't have a sack. Anyways, thank you. Listen to the Weekend Crunch. Do we have an Islander game?
Yeah, but it's a day game, so we'll be on a normal time.
All right. So we will be doing a pregame show at about 1:30, 1 o'clock for the Islanders. And good luck to the Islanders. They win one more game. They clinch a playoff spot. So that's exciting for all the craziness that's happened to the Islanders this year. They actually have a chance to clinch a playoff spot. So
can they beat the Rangers again?
No, they have Montreal on Saturday, right?
Or no, I think Montreal was tonight.
Rangers.
Did they play Montreal tonight?
I thought Montreal was tonight and the Rangers are Saturday.
Did they win tonight?
The Islanders. Yep, they beat the Canadiens in overtime 3-2.
All right. So if the Islanders win against the Rangers on Saturday, they will clinch a playoff spot. So
good luck. We're gonna kill you guys on Saturday. They've got to get revenge for that cheap shot on Trocheck at the end of the game. That was some shady calls I thought there at the end of that last game. But it's all right. It's all right. We'll see on Saturday.
So they'll have to bring back Matt Rempe for one game.
Bring him back. Bring them back. Just drop the gloves on opening. Just put all your worst guys out there. Pick a fight. Let's go. New Rangers, new year. Let's do it.
And Errol's sounds like he's deflating like a balloon.
Speedy, I'm deflating your sack.
Okay, you're deflating something that's invisible.
There.
He's seeing ghosts like Sam Darnold, everybody.
Well, I'm seeing a lot of ghosts. I'm missing those two, illustrious, balls in that sack,
Yep, you're seeing ghost balls.
All right, there you go. Anyways, listen to the Weekend Crunch at 7 o'clock on 103.9 FM here in Long Island. If you're not LI News Radio on iHeartRadio, you can listen to our show. And we'll be back Wednesday, 7 o'clock. Thursday, we'll be on at 8. So just let everybody know we will be on at 8 o'clock on Thursday because I have to take care of something. But we will be live, I promise you. So, yeah, thank you again, Fish, doing what you do best. And we have a long weekend and a lot of content to put up, as Speedy knows. And check out all the content all over social media. Until then, until tomorrow, until every day. Well, actually, until next week, really. We will be back. Good night, everybody.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.